Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League. We are here for day one, week one of our Diamond plus one Masters Player League. My name is Gordo. I am joined tonight by Gigatron, and we have got a banger matchup tonight between Stevens Law Gray and Team Ambition here tonight. Really excited to check out these two teams, Gigatron.
Me too. I'm excited for Prime because it's a very kind of newfound team that I would like to see how well they do. I know we've casted some stuff for them before for TA, so interesting to see kind of how they produce another good quality team this time around here in the Diamond League.
Yeah, absolutely. Your Team Ambition Prime coming in, going to be representing that same org that we got to cast for those Proving Grounds play-ins oh so recently. And Stevens Law Gray coming in. Both these teams going to be new to the ADL. Very few returning teams from last split, but sure to be a very exciting split nonetheless. Some returning players, though, bad in particular. Over on the Team Ambition Prime side, was playing for Pawn Sacrifice White last split, made it to playoffs with that squad, was really impressive in the jungle in particular there, so really excited to have him back. And I gotta call it out, sitting in the sub position for the jungle over on TA Prime is going to be Trajan, the former ADL color commentator. So he's not going to be playing tonight, but we can feel free to hold him accountable for any mistakes that TA may make on the evening.
Definitely going to blame him, even though he's casting another game right now. But we do got some good bands coming out right now. Coming out from Steven's team, we're having basically Kindred, Thresh, and Yasuo. How do you feel about these?
I'm a big fan of that Yasuo Diana combination that we start to see lately. I'm surprised to see the Yasuo being the one tanking the ban there instead of that Diana. Really feels like she's the one who gets a lot of focus put on her these days. But other than that, across the board, these bans making a lot of sense. The Kindred clearly going to be directed over at Bad. He's super impressive on that pick in particular, and we got to see a pretty nice pop off Kindred game on the AVL broadcast last night. So definitely going to be seeing that one taken off the ban list, at least for this very first game from the side of Stevens. They're going to lock in that Jinx. Lethal tempo nerfs are live, but nonetheless, plenty of teams still valuing that champion super highly.
Yeah, Jinx is still very strong, even with the nerfs on lethal tempo. You can still get out a lot of good damage with rockets. You can get, your Mega Death rocket going out too, and you're just able to provide kind of that hyperscaling style that you kind of want. But this is where we do see usually kind of a counter of a Jhin. Jhin works very well into her, as well as we do see a Jarvan. Interesting. How do you feel about bad on Jarvan? Because I know you know him a little bit better than me.
Yeah, I don't know if I know him quite well enough to know the whole champion pool. Jarvan wasn't super huge last split. I checked out some of the OPGGs. He's played a couple of Jarvan games already this season. It's a pretty straightforward jungler. Really excited to see this one hitting the rift here for him. It's really proactive in the early games, gives him the opportunity to be aggressive here. And I think that's going to put Evolution on the back foot right off the bat. We'll see what he ends up selecting for himself. That Xin Zhao's still available. The Trundle's still available as well. The Hecarim gonna be hovered and locked on in there, so definitely a matchup between two power pick junglers this time around. Gonna be really exciting to check on out, especially with how proactive they're both able to be. Jinx Nautilus now the locked in bottom lane here for the side of Stevens. They're gonna be facing off against Team Ambition, who are taking this Jhin and hovering the Morgana. This is something Respirit has played quite a bit of already this season. I'd be excited to see it locked on in, especially with that Thresh already on the ban list. That's gonna be Respirit's favorite. So instead, he's going to be going towards that Morgana this time around.
Yeah, when I talked to him last night, he was like, "Yeah, ran off like a couple champions that he likes a lot," and he does kind of favor both sides of whether it's the caster or the tank, but he likes CC so much, and you definitely get that with Morgana, and you can block CC at least onto someone. So Black Shields are really going to be good to help set up, and kind of that Jhin Morgana combo in the bot lane. It's very hard to go against. It could be very oppressive, just with the amount of range you kind of have with that. So might not be a fun time for Jinx and Nautilus early on.
Definitely not. Cassiopeia, an interesting ban now coming in through here from the side of TA. The Rumble going to be the ban for the side of Stevens. These are some picks I didn't get to see too much of in the solo queue stats there. So Interested to see who they might be directed at here. Kiana is something that I'm really keeping in mind here for Creed over on the side of Stevens. Plays that champion a whole bunch in the mid lane. Probably wouldn't want to blind pick it, but might have an opportunity to take it as a counter here. Team Ambition wants to blind mid instead of top. Although there's that Kiana ban being hovered, and it's going to be locked in right as I curse it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I love the caster curse. We like to see things and then it doesn't happen, but it's okay. I think that's a good ban, especially Vex. Oh gosh, yeah, just take out. Oh, you really gonna bait me? Are you really gonna bait me? Okay, you bait me with a Vex, and now you take a Silas. All right, that's fine. Um, Still, regardless, good ban. I think that they're really kind of just focusing on mid because Rumble, I mean, could go really either lane, but honestly, I'd probably see him more mid than top, just because you can get that flame spitter going and doing a lot of damage, and try to provide more of that kind of a combo where you could get down to that bot lane a little bit easier to get your rockets out.
Yeah, there's that Vex you were talking about here. Doesn't really have too many dashes to interrupt yet, but looks like it is going to be the lock-in. They blink back to Aurelion Sol for just a moment. It does end up being that Vex now as the blind pick mid laner. Feels pretty safe, especially now that the Kiana's been banned away here. The Cassiopeia ban interesting as well. So we'll see what the side of Stevens want to take into this. And now they have to blind a top laner. They know that they're facing down this Jarvan in the jungle. Probably going to want to go for something fairly safe, maybe with ability to escape from those ganks more easily. Quite a few options left available. I like this Syndra into the Vex. Super powerful early game laner. Can respond to some of the pushing power that she's going to bring with those Mistral bolts. But now, what is it going to be for Antigua in the top lane? He's the highest rated player on this team for the side of Stevens. Really, who they're going to be looking to carry them through a lot of these games. You've got to believe, although it's a little bit more of a tank player himself. He's got a lot of Scion games, got a lot of Gragas games in solo queue. Neither of those have been banned away. Both are pretty safe blinds in the current meta. We'll see if he ends up going for one of those two.
He actually opts for the Gwen. I like that because this means that even if you take a fighter or a tank, she's still going to do really well into it. So I like this idea instead of opting for more of that tank style. Since you already kind of Nautilus, you have Hecarim who's going to get a little more tankier, going to be in that bruiser style. So this is a really good pick. Oh, and the set.
Yeah, so being hovered here for reformed top. It's fine into the Gwen. I can farm it out just acceptably. Will challenge for some of those early CS, but it's actually going to be the Tryndamere instead. So they want a strong split push threat to counter out this Gwen, as she's going to be scaling up to be a really powerful flanker later on in the game. And yeah, that's a spicy one. Oh, go right ahead.
I was gonna say that's a spicy one right there. Just because of the fact that it's like you said, you're dealing with two splitters right there. So you know, it's definitely a good counter to kind of be like, hey, I can match you at least. I could take a lot of damage. I could go into the Undying Rage and be able to try to at least whittle you down. Hopefully, you know, she does have her circle, which kind of protects her a little more than I'd like. Playing against a champion, but, you know, he'll do pretty well into it.
Yeah, definitely here. And an interesting lane matchup, to be certain, is probably going to be a little bit stronger than that Gwen up until she gets a couple of items going. But of course, that Gwen scales so effectively. The Tryndamere, though, nothing to scoff at either. Going to be an interesting lane to keep an eye on for sure. And then this bottom lane, a lot of proactivity available for both sides. The Morgana as the counter into the Nautilus, really, really strong. The Black Shield on the Dredge line really gives you a strong opportunity to get really good trades off in that bottom lane. Means that you can immune the Dredge line, you can stop the CC that comes through, but Nautilus still pulls himself out of position once he lands it. So definitely a good counter pick to have there, as well as the experience that Respirit has in their pockets there. And then this Syndra into Vex, though, on the other side, for the side of Stevens Lowgray. Would love to see that and play towards that as much as they can. Try to get it a lead over Vex, try to carry it through later into the game, because it's got a lot of champions that can one-shot here. The Vex, the Jhin, the Morgana, and they have enough CC with the Nautilus, with that Syndra, with that Hecarim, to maybe keep that Tryndamere at bay if he gets a little bit stronger and starts coming into these later team fights.
Yeah, and I could definitely see that just because of the fact that he could get, you know, an early lead that gets him a little bit, his items a little bit faster and start being kind of a menace. But that's where you have Hecarim, who can definitely get in very quick and easy, try to push him back, use Onslaught Shadows to make sure he gets feared, and then you have your follow-up CC with Nautilus as well as Syndra. They could definitely lock him down very well, and Jinx could just kind of just scatter array. They can just get on him pretty easily while being safe.
Yeah, for certain here. And, that Jinx has the potential to really pop on off, especially if she gets a couple of those kills, starts getting excited, can really run their way through these fights in a way that the Jhin usually can't really match. He brings a little bit more utility, brings a little bit more burst damage, but can't really run through an entire team fight that way. Is gated by the fact that he needs to reload, is gated by his attack speed, among other things there. So going to have to just wait now and see what they're going to be able to do to navigate their way through this game. If they're just going to rely on the Tryndamere to split push through, or if they're going to try to go for some of these more mid-game centric team fights, they have the ability to engage from really far away with this Jarvan, with this Vex, with this Jhin. But they also have Tryndamere, who could be a really strong split pusher if they want to go for kind of a 1-4 setup and just play safely in that middle lane.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the style that you said they are picking is like, hey, you could go either way with it. You don't have to full commit to a split push, or you don't have to commit fully to a team fight either. It's definitely good to kind of have the idea of what you want to plan on going with and everything into the game, but I think that's kind of that nice flexibility that this team brings, is that you're able to kind of play into whichever style you need to at that time.
Definitely here. We're finishing up our in-client draft. Everybody's going where expected for now. No crazy flexes to be seen this time around, but from top on the Tryndamere, really going to be where my eyes are going. These Tryndamere matchups can be so swingy, both because of the RNG crits and just the variety of ways you can play out those matchups. Has a good chance up against this Gwen, if he navigates it well, to develop a lead for himself, to really sustain through everything and take advantage of the weaker early game that Gwen brings to the table. They can always be swung by the junglers, though. Bad and Evolution both going to be on really strong, proactive early game carries here. Bad in particular on this Jarvan, somebody I'm going to have my eyes on to see how he can path, what he can do to avoid wards there using that flag and drag, go for some unexpected gank paths, and get his team ahead in the early game. Try to get out ahead of where this Gwen and this Jinx are scaling towards, which is just going to be a really, really powerful late game and a really, really powerful team fight ability.
Exactly. And I think that's what you kind of have to have, because even though you have someone that's still early, like having the Vex, the Jhin, and the Morgana combo, as well as the Jarvan, who can definitely harass, either mid lane or bot lane and do very well, or, he can give some great support up to his top laners, so then he does get that lead going. So then you can get him out of that, top lane, get him to do kind of more team fights, or, hey, break down that top lane tower, great, go put him in bot lane now and just start taking out the other towers, doing that split push in style like you were talking about earlier. So I think this is going to be really interesting to see which style they start to favor more.
That's right. We already got a long season of Aegis Defenders League ahead of us here, and it's all going to start right now with a game between Stevens Law Gray and Team Ambition Prime. We got a whole best of 3 ahead of us tonight, so get comfortable and get ready to check out some of this Diamond League action. We are going to throw it to a quick break here when we get loaded onto the Rift for game number 1, but do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back, see who's going to take this game number 1. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League Week 1. We've got Stevens Lawgray on the blue side taking on Team Ambition Prime. Setting up here with a pretty standard split at level 1. Both teams just going to make sure they spot out any shenanigans going on. Bad is going to spot Evolution to get things started off here, but otherwise not going to be too much action to be seen.
Well, just standard 5-point from both sides. Well, 4.5 point if we call it Antigua being there, but yeah, it's fine. Nothing spicy. Didn't expect anything.
No, these guys are going to want to take it a little bit easier here. There's nobody that's got a crazy aggressive lane set up, at least in the early game. There's lanes that we expect to take leads. PVS and Respirit down here on the Jhin and Morgana should have some control, at least in the early game. You got to believe the Jhin's a little bit stronger of an early game champion, and Nautilus has to play so careful to not get messed up by that black shield. A little bit of a mistiming on the dredge line could really cost you a huge amount of your health bar in this matchup, so definitely gonna have to play aware of that. Creed Trick's also on the other side, gonna have a really strong advantage in this early game on the Syndra. Just does a lot more prior to level 6 than that Vex is, and you can see he's already throwing out those Dark Spheres, getting a lot of mileage off of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, again, Syndra's really good is you can poke, you get those electrocutes going off, you're getting a lot of trade damage for, like, nothing coming back at you, which is nice. Ooh.
Oh, Antigua's getting all in here by Reform top, and that's going to be first blood picked up for the Tryndamere. He talked about how swingy this matchup can be in the early game. You get 1 or 2 lucky crits, and you just get a chance to go all in there. And Latako managing to land Dredge Line in the bottom lane prior to Black Shield being leveled. You know, if you got any opportunities to make something happen on the Nautilus, I suppose they're right now. Really just going to be a little bit of an early trade, but huge lead for Reform top now, though. Ignite's expended by both parties, so not even really losing too much there on the side of Reformed. And now he's going to recall, he's going to spend that first blood gold, and he's going to come back even stronger.
He's going to take that cheater recall because he's got wave pushed in and everything. He's going to lose a little bit of CS in the process there. And yeah, he comes out with the first blood on top, which is definitely what he needs. He wants to get that. Oh, he takes up both sword and dagger right now, which is great. So he's gonna get that Doom Quiver real quick and easy. So I am enjoying that. I mean, I was not expecting it that quick, but hey, you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, you can't blame the jungler for that one. It's just a little bit too early. There's nothing that can really be done. You gotta just have your wits about you in the Tryndamere matchup. Recognize when that Ignite Ghost duo really going to do a lot of work on you. Although he doesn't even have to use the Ghost either. He just spins on in and he wins as a result. Now, this is the Gwen. Really, it doesn't bring any CC, doesn't bring too much damage, especially at level 1, and you got to just be really careful there. Nice move by Antigua there to dodge out on the Mocking Shout. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but really saves him a huge amount of grief there as Bad was coming in for the gank. And now they're going to have a chance to try to turn this one around. Evolution is showing on up. They got to be pretty careful, though. Tryndamere's got 2 items in the tank. He's going to pop the Ghost there, just gets a spinning slash through both, is now going to have to back away. Bad goes in for the flag and drag, doesn't end up landing it on anybody, though, and now has no way to really get out. Doesn't want to expend the flash, is going to be able to sneak back under the turret, but no kills to be had for either side.
Yeah, no kills either side, which is still good because you basically just expended Ghost on both sides for Evolution and Reform top there, and it's okay. Like, I mean, you both get out. As much as you'd like to trade a little bit more, things didn't go quite in the favor there, but we did see Respirit PVS. We're trying to get some damage out there onto both Kargi and Latako, but just didn't come out quite the way they wanted. Got traded back on it a little bit there with those rockets coming out from Jinx. So I am interested, though, if we see more of a top focus, or do we get a bot focus?
Yeah, definitely in question here. You'd think that Evolution wants to get the bot lane rolling here, wants to provide a little bit of relief there for Corgi and Latako, especially if Latako's been pretty good landing these dredge lines thus far, although the Black Shield's going to make that gank difficult. Jungler's going to run into each other on the bottom side once again, but this time it might just be Bad getting caught out a little bit here. Dark Binding comes over the wall, is going to save him for now, and Evolution has no flash, has no ult, can't follow Bad over the wall. It's just going to be the flash blown for the jungler on the side of Team Ambition, but otherwise, once again, no kills to be had, just an exchange of skills.
Yeah, which is still really good for Evolution, because now you're like, hey, my Ghost is going to come up faster than your flash. We'll be able to do a little bit more, maybe get in, and get a gank off pretty well onto any lanes right now. And yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but you know what? Again, Bad was able to get out pretty easily.
Yeah,
not safely, but easily.
Yeah, Creedtrix now on the back foot a little bit, is stacking up this big wave that Sorka's just trying to clear on out, but going to land a nice stun. But here's level 6 gotten for this Vex, going to go on in for the Shadow Surge, has Bad at the back, but it's going to be Evolution once again, matching this Jarvan, showing up just in time, gets a little bit of an opportunity to move on in, but isn't able to get onto Sakurva. Is going to just be backing on away. Bad is so very low here, just one more auto attack will do it from Creedtrix, but it's just not going to work it out.
Yeah, so it's just able to do a lot of damage, but unfortunately it has to kind of back out. And ooh, well,
Tryndamere, Undying Rage, going in for the dive. Will not quite be able to get out in time. The turret shot is going to take out that kill for Antiqua. Ends up being a 1-for-1, but Reform top really flexing his muscles here in that top lane, trying to go for the dive. Doesn't quite get it quickly enough to be able to survive. And with the teleport available for Antiqua, you got to believe that that's going to end up being Gwen favored at least a little bit.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit favored for a little while, and then, I don't know, it's just, you kind of want to have Tryndamere get ahead, but it's like, in the long run, like, are you going to be able to still be that menace in the late game? But, oh god, engage right now on bot lane.
Yeah, damage returning onto Latako is pretty good, but is tanky enough there with that shield, will be able to stay alive for at least a little bit. And just going to end up losing a tiny bit of HP, trade of health bars, but not much else to be found. It is going to be the fleet work setup for PVS this time around, so he can keep himself topped off all day long, whether he's getting hit by Jinx poke or not. It got Bad on this side of the map, although it is going to be Evolution mirroring it once again. They should be able to get Jarvan to level 6 off the back of his blue buff. Will the Cataclysm gank be effective, or is he just going to get matched by Evolution's horse again? That's been really tough for him so far this game. We'll see if it happens again.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you see both were kind of clearing both of their bot side buffs here. I mean, might be the case. He might just opt to take it mid because I think if you can launch it with her, oh, she's real low too.
Stevens going on in onto Respirit. Once again, going to get nullified by that black shield. Evolution is in the bottom lane, is spotted out there by that control ward. We'll just clear it on out and return back to his jungle, but either way, no more action to be had here. It's all been focused on the top lane. It's just been Reform top and Antiqua trading back on each other the first 8 minutes of this game. The junglers keep mirroring each other, and it's allowed Evolution to really nullify all these early game Jarvan ganks. And now he's got the Onslaught of Shadows. He's a lot stronger now, and will be bringing a lot of value to these fights. First Dragon, though, gonna end up going over for Team Ambition. Steven's just not able to respond in time, not feeling strong enough in the bot lane. Doesn't have their mid laner available quite yet off that recall. So will be the first Infernal Drake in Team Ambition's pocket.
Which is good for them. They're just able to start getting those objectives going on. So maybe this is more that split style we're going to see that you're talking about, because they're getting more objectives. You're getting trading onto Gwen, so you can get some tower damage. So you're able to now kind of create that pressure down both lanes. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Evolution sees a good opportunity here. That's a nice black shield from Respirit to save PVS's life. Immunes the fear, but Respirit is going to lose their life for the trouble. Corgi gets that kill up against the Morgana. Even going to throw out the missile to try to pick up PVS. Doesn't end up landing. Super Mega Death Rocket, but it is a successful gank at the bottom lane. The first for either jungler so far. Evolution makes it happen to the bottom lane. Creedtrix now going to get responded on. Bad is coming on through, has access to the Cataclysm. They know that Creedtrix has no flash here, but it is going to once again be Evolution showing up right where he needs to be just in time. He nullifies the gank attempt, and Bad just has to retreat back to the bird camp.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he has to kind of just retreat back, which obviously never want to have to do, but what he needs to do to make sure that, something doesn't go more into Steven's favor. I mean, we see Creed is just able to get these combos going off, but oh no.
Oh, that's a nice Cataclysm coming on through. Evolution uses a clever use of the chart there to get away, and Bad doesn't get the auto attack off of the flash. It's going to be Evolution escaping with just the teeniest bit of HP there. That auto attack would have done it, but doesn't end up going on through. Now they're going to have to go in to try to gank this Gwen instead. Antigua already on the move. Does have that skip and slash, but no flash available. 4 members collapsing on through. Gwen is immune for just a little bit, but the fear going to come on through from Soroka, and they are going to be able to finish off that kill, but no, it just gets turned around on the regeneration there from the needlework. So big from Gwen, and now Reform top going to get knocked on up by the depth charge. Has already used the Undying range. Is getting chased on down by Latako. Will be able to get enough distance, but that's a max range depth charge coming on through. Going to hook back on in. Bad's Jarvan going to take him on out. It's a 2 for 0 in favor of Stevens. They counter the play perfectly. They keep Antigua alive at just a tiny sliver of HP, and they win it out the top side.
And this is where Antigua kind of excels being on the Gwen, because if you can keep yourself alive that little bit longer, your team fights, because of the needlework, is just so great that unfortunately you see that a couple of TA Prime fall down here. But you also have to look at, hey, you tried to do more of that aggressive play. You tried getting evolution there, but unfortunately that flash just didn't get that auto that you wanted there, or you just didn't have the piercing from the Q coming out from him. So it's a little unfortunate, but in the end, losing 1, I mean, not too bad. Up 2, I should say, because you had lost Jarvan too. But you know what? It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, another dredge line, this time going to miss in the bottom lane. Going to keep PVS alive for a little bit. Reform top still trying to use his lead, trying to make stuff happen, but he's lost a lot there. Antigua gets another kill in that top lane, is keeping even or even ahead in CS now, and has recovered really nicely from that first blood and even second blood that was picked up by Reform top. Gets the trade kill both times. Now is sitting on that Leeching Leer, getting pretty close to finishing her first item, and once she's there, she's pretty strong and is really able to tussle with this Tryndamere a lot more effectively. Has enough regeneration with the needlework to be able to survive those all-in engages. So Evolution coming on up here, going to throw on down the Rift Herald, will be able to pick up the turret off of that. Corgi getting a little bit caught out here, going to have to flash away there from that deadly flourish. Now Latako just a little bit too far away. Bad going to be able to pick up that kill as the 4th shot comes through from Jhin. 1 kill in the bottom lane, but meanwhile this Rift Herald is running it down in the top lane. Has already been able to pick up the first turret for the side of Stevens. Now Reform top going to have to answer it and stop it from charging into the middle.
And I think this is still really good. Ooh,
hey, Corgi trying to stay alive.
Hey. Nah. You gotta dubstep steal it with the binding there for Respirit. So good job by Respirit to make sure that extra kill secure on there. So good job by him.
Bad, a little bit caught out here, though. There goes the depth charge. It's going to follow him through that flag and drag, as is the onslaught of shadows. Bad staying alive a little bit with the help of this black shield. It will, in fact, survive for long enough. Now Sakrava has been able to get their first reset. Is coming back on through with the shadow surge, but the team is getting forced on back. Antigua is teleported on in, goes on a killing spree as he finishes off the first kill on a PVS. And now Sakrava just a little bit too far up, getting chased down by the anchor man. Latako going to be able to finish off that kill. It's a 2 for 1, turned back around by the side of Stevens. They continue to come out ahead in these extended engagements, almost picking up a third one there with the Super Mega Death Rocket.
Yeah, almost picked one up there, but unfortunately not going to be the case. Latako definitely showing why the Dredge Line man is just one of those menacing supports that unfortunately you can lock down people pretty quickly, pretty easily, and even though you are going against Morgana, who can at least block someone's CC coming in, it's just not unfortunately going to help out in that case. And they did secure that kill pretty quickly on the PVS, which helped them kind of go rotate then on the Sakrava. So I like that. They're playing their team fighting very well coming out for Stevens.
Definitely here. Second Dragon now in the hands of Team Ambition. They're the first ones to the objective. They're starting on up, and with 3 members just leaving the base, might be tough for Stevens to respond to this. They're just going to end up being willing to give over second Dragon of the game here. Bad going to be able to finish it off with a nice little smite. Now, it is the gold lead still in favor of Stevens, but those Dragons got to keep our eyes on it here. It is going to be the Hextech Soul that will be very, very strong if Team Ambition are able to claim it for themselves. They got 2 more to go, though. You got to believe Stevens is going to start fighting these eventually.
Yeah, they really need to. I mean, the good thing is they did get the Rift the first time around, so I think that's going to be maybe their focus next time is try to get Rift, if it pops up in time, as well as...
Nice knock up there to interrupt the dredge line from the side of Latako, but is it going to be enough? Antigua is teleporting in just in time again. Is going to at least make it a 1 for 1, and Latako stays alive through all of it. It's just 2 kills for nothing picked up for the side of Stevens. they just keep responding to these plays perfectly. Every time Bad tries to make something happen, Stevens, Lil Gray have completely canceled it on out and have made it favorable for their side. They extend their gold lead even farther, and now with Antigua in the bottom lane, they're about to take out another outer turret unless Team Ambition can figure out some way to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can. I don't know. Right now, it looks like they are.
The dash on through with the Gale Force doing so much for Reform top there. Finishes up the kill on a Corgi. Now going to finish off onto Antigua as well, just barely staying alive with the Undying Rage. Turns it back around, gets 2 kills, gets 2 big kills as well. A huge shutdown was sitting on that Gwen there. Gets to turn that into more gold for the Tryndamere, who's now sitting at 4-1. Gale Force really gives you that extra dash, really gives you a whole lot more kill pressure on this Tryndamere. It means that he's now stronger than ever coming back out onto the map.
Yeah, I mean, and look at that. He's able to pick up that Caulfield's in a click of agility, and I mean, this is just gonna be so good for him. Now he's getting more crit. He's gonna be able to get, assuming he's going for Essence Reaver, and then be able to do a lot more damage. So I don't know. Not saying it's ogre for them, but it's definitely comeback a little bit right now coming for a Reform top. I think if he can lane a little bit more and help out in some of the team fights, then he can go do that split pushing like he's been doing before and be able to kind of create that pressure, being like, hey, you have to definitely send Gwen or someone up to get me.
Yeah, for sure here. Getting some more gold into PBS in the bottom lane as well. Giving him that solo turret gold, although Antigua going hard against Reform top here, knows that he doesn't have access to the ultimate, but the Needleworks keep getting dodged away from. Fancy footwork there from the Tryndamere to dodge out on those, and now has Bad for the backup. Will be able to retreat with his life. You can see Antigua has the Riftmaker finished, is much stronger now on the Gwen than they were earlier, and can really take these fights up against Reform top in a way that in the early game Gwen really could not. And it's only going to get stronger and stronger as the game goes on. The Undying Rage is really going to be necessary for Reform top to have any chances in these 1v1s.
Oh yeah, because I mean, think about it too. You get a lot more rage with it. You're able to crit more. You're able just to kind of just trade damage and be able to soak as much as possible. So I think that's definitely going to be a heavily favored thing that he needs to have. But we'll see where his items are at in the next like big one-on-one, which we might see soon. Ooh, Free Spirit. I know you see him, but you might get caught out here by Evolution.
Yeah, nice double binding from her Spirit and PVS, just stacking them on top of each other there. Really bullying Lataco, but they don't really have the follow-up damage. They don't have a way to engage on and make anything happen to Lataco for this chain CC coming on across. It's kind of whittling away at his health bar ever so slightly, but you can see he's sitting pretty. He does not really care about this. And instead, they're just going to keep the bot lanes farming it out in the mid lane. Everybody just waiting for this next dragon to spawn, it appears. There's not too much action happening otherwise.
Yeah, nothing happening too much. We have Rift up right now that they could take, but either side is really favoring to go get that right now. So, because Drake's going to be up here in 50 seconds, I'm okay with that. Good Hex Head Drake, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Going to be spawning
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, going to be spawning about 40 seconds here. It is going to be the blue buff donated over to Soccerville, trying to make sure that this Vex is going to have all of the poking potential that she needs. So now it is going to be another dragon spawning here in just about 30. Gotta believe Team Ambition, they want to be here on time. They're just completing their resets. They're sending on down the Tryndamere. After that push, Creed does have access to the teleport to rejoin this fight. It might be a fight breaking out over this Gigatron.
Oh, definitely. I think there's going to be a big fight. I mean, you see Bad seeing Antigua right now, thinking she's alone, but not going to be the case here.
Bad just pulls the trigger, goes for it, locks on down this Gwen. There's the engage over the wall from Sakurba. Wants to get the reset on that Shadow Surge, does get it. Lands the second one onto Antigua. A big stun, though. Comes on through from Creatrix. Will it be enough? Reform top dives onto the back line. Trades 1 for 1, though. Will end up going down as soon as that Undying Rage expires. 2 kills picked up for the side of Team Ambition. 1 for the side of Stevens. Low health bars, though. And Antigua still very strong here. Doesn't have the needlework, but might not need it. Gwen is immune for just a little bit longer. Bad is stuck on the wrong side of the dragon pick. Gonna be forced forced to flash away. Antiqua going to go on in, going to finish off the kill on a PBS. Creatrix stays alive. Corgi gets the resets on the Jinx, and they win it on out. They take out the side of Sakrava. They take out PBS, but bad. Jumps on in, takes out that kill onto Creed, but it's just going to get finished off by Corgi. Corgi going to turn that one into a triple kill, going to take out the Dragon, and going to win the fight for the side of Stevens.
Corgi just still performing very well. I mean, we saw a really good CC layer there too. You had Gwen going in, trying to create some pressure and some damage in the team fight, but then you had Creatrix come down with that TP and just unleashed all those spheres out and was able to stun them and bursted them down pretty quickly. So this way they were definitely hurt. Oh no, Form
does not have Undying Rage. He's just going down here. Dashes on in, feels a little bit stronger than he is, and is going to end up losing his life a second time there. And that was really the big problem in that last fight. He died super early. He is so much of the gold value of that Team Ambition team. The fact that he ends up going down so early in that fight just kind of dooms it there for the side of TA. Even though they had the numbers advantage, they did not have even close to the gold to be able to keep that fight going.
No, I mean, and this thing is, if you don't have enough to really kind of keep going, you have not the health numbers either, and you have a Jinx who, again, has some pretty good close range and range attacks, you know, just switching between the guns there, so, and using Zap, and you could have used Death Rock at any point too, so it's kind of like, hey, you need to watch out, because again, Gwen, being able to be in her circle there, being untargetable, it's kind of one of those things that is really annoying. That I think if she was dead, maybe that dragon fight would go a little bit better in the TA Prime's favor, but unfortunately they were just not able to get some of the kills that they needed to have on the people in that fight.
Definitely here, the setup coming on through in the mid lane, just gonna get responded to. Corgi arriving in time, but now there's so much gold on this Jinx as well. Has completed her second item, has a BF sword, well on her way to the third. And that just gives so much additional dimensions towards the team fighting power of Stevens. They were so reliant on the Gwen before, but now they have so much ranged power coming in from this Jinx and from this Syndra. Creed was also huge in that last fight, by the way. Landed a big stun to really stop the initial engage and bought them the time that they needed to be able to take the fight later.
They're setting up right now. See if they can get the Respirit here. I see him over the wall.
Nice little snares coming on through. They keep using the Morgana Jhin combo pretty effectively to lock somebody down, but the follow-up is just never there. Bad, face checks into two there, has the Black Shield to keep him safe. Will be able to retreat back into the jungle. Again, they're missing Vex, they're missing Tryndamere. They don't really have an opportunity to go for a fight. They're instead just going to have to back away and keep ARAM in it. So far, only one turret taken here for the side of Team Ambition. They really want to crack open this mid and outer turret, open up the map a little bit for themselves, get some opportunities to move into the opposing jungle, but Stevens is just not giving them the windows.
Oh, they're not really getting it, and I think that's the problem, is like, even though, you know, when we're trying to figure out this team comp's identity, you know, early on, we're like, okay, maybe it's split, maybe it's team fight, and as much as we kind of like seeing that split, you know, with the Tryndamere, it's just not working out quite yet, where he's able to take out, you know, another turret, and it's a little unfortunate right now, but I think if he gets another item, maybe he'll be in a little bit better position. Maybe he can get something going on, and I don't know, maybe, like you said, get at least one of the outer turrets and start pushing, creating more of that pressure. But Creatrix definitely zoning out right now onto Bad and company. So
yeah, for sure here. Got 4 members now moving into the red side jungle, setting up around this Baron. They're going to just start it on up. Evolution feels strong enough. They feel like their gold lead is enough to be able to pressure this objective. And there's no vision here for the side of Team Ambition. Not even sure they realize this is going on. Bad is farming the blue buff while this all goes down. No blue wards available at this moment. TA, they're going to find this out, but they're going to find out way too late. They see it going on down. The curtain call comes on through. Reform Top is coming on through from the other side, but the purple worm has already fallen on down. That's going to be Stevens sneaking away a nice Baron, taking half of Antiqua's health bar for it, and retreating back now with that big objective. That's so much more gold, and that's so much more map pressure now for the side of Stevens.
Yeah, so much more pressure for them, just because of the fact that, okay, now you can push out lanes a little bit better. You can be, you know, having that a little more regen. You can have the Baron recall. It's just really good for them to kind of help out, you know, since they are down a drag.
Now just forcing the fight there. Onslaught of Shadows over the wall from Evolution just to get the angle, and they've locked on down Re-Spirit. Corgi gonna go unstoppable as they finish off that kill. Now moving on towards the bottom side, the Dragon is spawning here in just about 10 seconds. Bad is solo HP. Re-Spirit is off of the map. Once again, Stevens, they can utilize their Baron pressure. They can move on towards this Dragon. They can get themselves tied up at 2-2. And maybe even look for another fight here. Bad going to get hooked by that Dredge line. No Black Shield available with Re-Spirit already dead. And now Reformed is going to be caught out as well. Has to spinning slash away, but Antigua going to try to chase him on down. Not quite going to be able to catch that Tryndamere, but now with the jungler dead as well, this Dragon is just absolutely free. PVS forced to flash, steps up a little bit too far, and Stevens is taking everything.
Yeah, Stevens, I mean, they're just performing really well right now. They are taking their team fights the way they need to. They're getting the objectives that they need. I mean, look at that. All the outer turrets are cracked and down right now. You have 2 dragons now on your side, and the Baron buff is still on you. It's going really well in their favor right now. You got a 6.3k gold lead right now, and just climbing.
Climbing for sure here, and yeah, as they take this inner turret, gotta climb a lot higher. These inner turrets are worth so much gold this season, and there's just nothing that they can really do to stop them from going on down. Continuously getting caught out in the wrong places, getting fights started not on their own terms, and now with such a substantial gold lead, Stevens can go wherever they want. They got 7k gold lead at 26 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good that they're getting there right now because, like you talked about early on, their team wasn't really getting quite there. I mean, you have the Gwen who is more scaling, you have Jinx who's more scaling, but Creed has been performing really well right now. You have Cargi who has definitely gotten some kills on him, has that bounty gold on him right now. So that'd be a good objective to get right now for TA if they can lock that down. I don't know. They've been protecting her pretty well in these team fights.
Definitely here, and they're always getting started on Steven's terms. It's always Evolution diving into the back line there, and Reformed top and bad have usually just been really nullified in these fights, either through positioning or just through some nice disengage tricks from Lataco and Creed tricks. And they just are having a lot of trouble. If they aren't the ones starting these fights, if they aren't the ones picking up onto Creed Tricks or Corgi, they basically have no shot of winning out on these fights. And that's going to take bad finding a good flank angle. It's going to take them setting up some good vision. And they're trying their best to do that here, but every time they try to move up and be aggressive somewhere, it looks like Evolution is just already waiting for them.
Yeah, and I think there's that kind of team planning that they're doing that's working really well for Stevens is the fact that, hey, we got a lot of these wards out right now. We're kind of seeing where they're at. We can plan towards having a fight happen. And like right now, you're sending 3 top on the Tryndamere, and Tryndamere realizes, hey, I need to get out of here.
Absolutely bad. Maybe he has his opportunity on a Creed Tricks here. Nice use of the Flag and Drag to nullify that Scatter of the Weak. They had Sakrava coming in with the ultimate. They had their moment maybe onto a squishy there. You gotta think that if you're Team Ambition and you're this far behind, that's really your moment to force, but they don't end up going for it. They don't end up committing anymore on to that Syndra. Could have at least forced her to flash away, and instead, they're just losing more all across the map. Antiqua's been split pushing in the side lane this entire time. Is way too strong for PVS to be able to handle. They take the last inner turret in the top lane. They are just growing this gold lead bigger and bigger. It's going over to 8k now. Bad looking for a little engage opportunity. This is both carries. This could be what he goes for. Goes for the flag and drag, lands it onto the Syndra. The lockdown comes on through, forces her into the stasis. Sakrava is now coming on in, wants to get the reset on that Shadow Surge. He's going to get the first one as he goes into the stasis. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Re-Spirit is the only one who's fallen on down. Antiqua's arrived to the fight, going on in with the teleport, the double kill, already coming on through for Reformed, though. Will he be able to carry this one out? It's going to be the battle of the top laners, but Corgi finishes off the kill on to the opposing Tryndamere. The triple kill ends up coming on through. It's a 3-for-4 thus far. Can Antigua finish clearing it on out? Looks like the answer is going to be no. Attention is split between PVS and Bad, and that's going to result in both escaping. Team Ambition, they get the best fight they can hope for, and they take it 3-for-4.
It's really good for them. Again, get that bounty gold off of Jinx now. Able to take out 4 players there, which was, I think, kind of looking more, again, you're thinking maybe it's a Stevenson fight that would have been more on their side, but again, they were just able to play around it very well. Bad had some good setups. You forced Creed into a stasis, which unfortunately is not what you wanted her. just because of the fact that again she could just pepper people with those spheres and just was not being able to be done. But good job by Kargi to still trade back and get a kill on her Reform top, just because Reform top was just kind of going through them.
Absolutely here, Sakurva pushing on up through the middle lane. Form top spinning on through on those wolves to clear him on out. And now, they've evened the odds a little bit. They closed the gold gap by about 2k off the back of winning that one. Now sitting at 48 to 54. Gold lead means less and less as the game drags on. They've continued to get their Tryndamere stronger. He's going to be taken over to level 16 pretty soon, as are the rest of them. And this could be an opportunity for them to fight their way back into this. Another dragon is spawning shortly. Whoever gets it is going to be on Soul Point. This might be where the fight takes place. Gonna be bad showing up first, forcing back Antiqua with the rest of his team, and Creatrix is kind of stuck on the wrong side, has the teleport to regroup, but they're gonna need to start that sooner rather than later. Evolution is seen on the map, clearing a control ward, and that means this is a free dragon to the side of Team Ambition, but they aren't starting the Baron in response. It's just Stevens fumbling the bag a little bit there. Team Ambition finds another way to get more back in this game.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure out, like, what do they do? Like, do they bait out the Baron? Do they not? Part of the problem is, too, you knew they were down there. Don't even clear the ward. Just go on the Baron now, and you would at least have had a half health or less at that point. So now you're at least trading objectives for something. Because you have to realize they are getting a bounty gold on everything, regardless from TA there. So I think that's kind of, unfortunately, a misplay for Stevens there. But definitely something that they can, look back on and correct now in the next couple minutes of the game here.
For certain here, the dragon now going to be spotted on up outside of Stevens, or the Baron rather. Teleport being channeled now. Sakurva's going to rejoin this fight. Binding lands over the wall. Bad going to have to go in for the steal, and he steals it away there. Team Ambition fighting back as they immediately shut down Antiqua, one of the primary carries for the other side. Corgi going to fall down as well. So much damage coming through out of this Tryndamere, but he cannot die. He is the undying rage. The Aegis is going to be completed now for the side of Team Ambition. They take it 5-for-1 off the back of the Baron steal, and this game is now ripe for Team Ambition's picking.
Oh, this is the game, baby. I mean, you gotta look at it. This is something that you were not expecting. The Baron still right there. Not only even that, but even able to follow up with a team fight there onto them. And TA played it perfectly in that case there. And yeah, I mean, you get the ace. You're able to now pretty much just almost end the game here. I don't think they're going to quite get it, but
it's 5 seconds until Evolution respawns. They decide they want to go for it. They got the Jarvan flag for the movement speed. They got the AD from the Tryndamere and the Jhin, and they're just going to run right through the Nexus Gigatron. Game number 1 going to the side of Team Ambition Prime.
Team Ambition Prime definitely showing up here. I mean, here's the thing, too. They were down for a while, with that gold deficit, and then just that one quick fight just turn them back into favor, and then you get the dragon basically for no contest there, essentially. And then now you're able to just go and steal the Baron. I mean, it's a little unfortunate in that case for them, but really good job by TA to take out that first game on Stevens here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they end that game still down in gold as a team over on the side of Team Ambition there. They were so close to be completely out of it. The siege was so strong from the side of Stevens, but they just end up fighting on back. They win one team fight, just 4-for-3, and that's enough to rally them there. They take a dragon, they get themselves some objective bounties, and then they steal the Baron, they wipe the team fight, and they win the game straight up. It's just, it shows what importance mental has on the game there, I suppose. I mean, it was all coming up Stevens, but just a couple of misplays, a couple of capitalizations from Team Ambition, and they come up 1-0 in this series, one game away now from starting off undefeated here in the ADL.
Yeah, and that's what they're kind of looking at is, again, this game is about mental. Fortunately, yes, a lot of it is skill-based, but if you have the mental where you can stick through, make sure that you execute plays a little bit easier the way that you need to and everything there, you can come out with a win. And that's where, again, like we talked about, you had a really good fight, still brought you back with some bounties there. You got other bounty objectives that you needed, which, hey, I think that's a great addition that they put in, this season. So I definitely love this, that they're kind of being on top right now. So as much as it was a game that we weren't thinking they were going to win, they pulled it out, which I'm great and happy for TA Prime there. So, They did actually have a little bit of a goal lead at the end there. I did see it before I
All right,
left the
all
game.
right. Well, that ruins the narrative a little bit in my
Okay,
eyes,
hey.
but you gotta be real happy with the comeback from Team Ambition nonetheless. They were down 8k gold at one point. You're not supposed to win that game. So the fact that they're able to fight
No.
back, great for them, but they're gonna have some more successful early games for the rest of this series if they want to actually close it on out. We'll find out shortly. We're gonna throw it to a quick break here while we get into draft for game number 2. We're gonna be right back to see if Team Ambition can sweep this one pretty cleanly off the back of a big comeback win, or if Stevens Law Gray can actually close on out the remainder of the games and take this series for themselves. Stay tuned.
Everybody panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Da-da-da-da. Aw, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where we are getting into game number 2 between Stevens Law Gray and Team Ambition Prime. And we had a super interesting game number 1, Gigatron. I mean, it did not look like Team Ambition were set up to win that one, and yet they end up pulling it out at the end of the day. It looks like they're going to be sticking to the same sides here. Stevens sitting on the blue side still. Team Ambition running it back on the red. You can't believe that this game is going to play out the same as the last one did, though.
Now, and pretty much similar bands again. I don't think there was anything different than the last one, too. But now, yeah, I mean, I really don't think it's going to be anything different. I mean, again, it was just a kind of skill matchup there at the end, really just kind of just making sure that, hey, you know what, you took the correct team fights, you positioned yourselves very well, you got those 4 kills that you needed to onto Stevens there. And then you also look at that, hey, I mean, hey, you know what, they're just going to run it back, it seems like right now. I don't know. So we keep seeing all the same champions so far. Oh, we get Silas this time around.
Oh boy, yeah, the Silas going to come on back from the ban list in game number 1, going to be drafted for game number 2 here. That Morgana going to be replaced by this pick, but otherwise it's the salty run back so far. The Jinx, Nautilus, Hecarim for the exact same picks for the side of Stevens. The Jhin and the Jarvan matched up for Team Ambition. In the Hecarim versus Jarvan matchup, Evolution had a great performance there in game number 1, was constantly nullifying everything Bad was trying to do. We'll see if that pattern continues here, loading up into our second game, because it was not a recipe for success for the Jarvan, at least not in the early game, and you can't rely on the Miracle Baron, Steel, and Ace to win both games.
No, I mean, and still, even that was like very close. That I was just like, I don't know, that's going in their favor, and then out of nowhere, you just see it happen. And you're like, oh my god, this is just kind of surreal that it happened. But I mean, hey, they're going off of that kind of that hype, from those 4 kills in that fight, and then you get the Drake for free. I mean, it was kind of crazy with that, and then you're able to still go back, get in position then for the potential Baron Steel, which they did come out with, and then just kind of just wipe the floor. I mean, it's just kind of crazy that it even happened. I do want to see what they do choose this time around. I I kind of want to see the Alistair. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, the Morgana's still an option. They ran it last time. It was all right. I mean, it's still successful on the Nautilus. The recipe still makes sense here. But maybe they decide they want a little bit more powerful of an engage tool, and they do lock on in
yeah.
that Alistair now. They're a little bit brawlier than they were last game. They had the Vex and they had the Morgana to go for this kind of long-range poke style. Did not really work out for the side of Team Ambition. They couldn't get the fights they were looking for. So now they have this Silas, they have this Alistair, and they're looking to start fights on their own terms. They're going to steal away the Onslaught of Shadows. They're going to race Silas into the back line, and they are going to take the fights that they want with all 3 of these engagers.
Yeah, I mean, even if you take the Vex right now, I just feel like it's just 3 good ultimates between Depth Charge, Onslaught of Shadows, and Vex's ult there that you could just basically go in at any point and just do a lot of CC, which is kind of their style. They like having heavy CC people. You have the Flag and Drag coming out from Jarvan. You have the Cataclysm, which, traps people in. You have Silas who can, do a lot for them right now. Even with a Settle. Oh my god. I don't know. I think if they could play around Silas very well, Silas might just carry them.
Yeah, and I mean, the Gwen banned away here, really smart by the side of Team Ambition Prime. Antiqua looked really good on that pick, even after having been set behind early, was able to fight his way back on in. Now he's going to be on the set, still a big impactful champion, but not quite going to have the solo carry potential that Gwen does. And now they're hovering the Singed, the Aurelion Soul. They're trolling us. They're hovering low pick rate champions for funsies. Reformed is going to go for something different. I don't believe that. Yorick, I don't believe it. I don't believe the Heimerdinger either. It's going to be Gangplank locked on in to face off against this set. Going to be getting that poke damage early. Going to be looking to farm on up and become a big carry force later. I like this draft a lot more for the side of Team Ambition.
Yeah, I think so too, just because of the fact that even though you had the Morgana, who was still really good from a CC standpoint, you were kind of lacking more of that tank that would have helped out in some of the fights just because you're dealing with Nautilus. Yeah, you had really good bindings where you had the combo going well, and it was great, but you had no follow-up. And then, how are you going to produce that when Vex was behind that little bit there? Jhin still, even though you're doing 4 shots, it's still not putting out enough yet until the point of when he got to that late game point there. Jhin was doing really well. He got enough going ahead for him. And I think that's going to be potentially the case here. As long as they sync up well with the Alistair and Jhin, I think that's going to be a good combo into the Nautilus Jinx. It's kind of like an even counter. They kind of match up with each other. And then now you have the Silas, which, like you said, is just going to run it down. I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, you have way too many ults that you could just take that don't not benefit you in any team fight situation.
Yeah, and I really like the change over to the Alistar from for Spirit. I mean, the Morgana probably has a little bit more games played on it, at least per the solo queue. But the Alistar, close third there behind the Thresh that is still going to be banned away. And I feel like it meets what they need on the side of Team Ambition just a little bit more. Were not able to be successful with a lot of their team fights last time. They weren't really able to get the fights started that they were looking for, and they would land the Morgana bindings, they would land the deadly flourishes, but the team wasn't really able to follow up for whatever reason. I like the move here from Respirit to take things into his own hands and to look to force in those fights and full engages himself rather than sitting back on that Morgana.
Sure, and the other thing too is, hey, you know what? You have Hecarim come in, cool, headbutt him out. Simple as that. I mean, now it kind of negates that. Yeah, you're charging it on him. Hopefully, he doesn't have onslaught of shadows, kind of a thing. Even if he does, you can still throw someone away and still knock up someone. So then you can hopefully get, Jin out of the fight there. PVS should be able to, I know, again, still try to poke, do some damage, but can follow up maybe that a little bit more in that case. Do a Silas who can roam a little bit better now. Again, can hijack any of those ultimates, coming out there from Steven's team. And man, I do agree. I think I like this team a lot better for Team Admission. But I also like Steven's team too. I mean, you have a really good setup that you have Set who could go in, just take the Alistair and just chuck him into the team. You with the Showstopper. You have Vex who could go in and just provide a lot of damage there. Have a Fear go off, CC combo it with the Onslaught of Shadows. You have a depth charge that might go through a couple people that just sets up perfectly for Set to do a lot of damage along as Jinx too. So I don't know. I like both sides, but I do agree. I do like TA's a little bit better now compared to last time.
Yeah, it's compared to last time, right? And now we've got a couple of really hard brawling team comps here that are really going to want to take these 5v5 fights, especially as we start to get into that mid game, start to look towards those later dragons, and that's exactly the kind of gameplay we want to see here. They were just forced to play a little bit too far back with Morgana. It felt like they had a lot of good nullifications on engages coming on through from the side of Stevens, but Bad just found himself getting marked the entire game. It was always going to be this Nautilus or the Hecarim himself just standing on top of wherever Jarvan was trying to go and doing a really good job of preventing him from getting in on the back line until the very end of the game. And now that you have multiple kind of dive threats, now that Sakravo's going to be on the Silas, now that Respirit's going to be on the Alistar, it feels like they've kind of drafted themselves some solutions to those problems. And now we'll just see how the early game ends up playing out. Once again, Evolution pathed pretty perfectly last game, constantly responding to wherever Bad was trying to make plays happen, constantly turning them back around into Stevens' favor. I want to see more of that from Evolution here if SIT wants to bring us into a game number 3 here. Feels like they were really close to being able to close it out last time. They just have to repeat that kind of early and mid-game excellence that they showed in game number 1 and just actually close it out this time around. Mark Bad, don't let him steal away that Baron, and don't end up flipping the game over the big purple worm as good as it looks, and they'll be set up for success if they're able to repeat that performance.
Hey, you know what? Sidge is in the game, so they aren't going to flip, I think, this time around. But, even though it was in the last game, but still, going to be, I think, a little bit easier time for them now, just because I feel like you have a little bit more of that synergy. You still have a carry top laner that works very well, with the Set. You have Vex who can still provide that poke. Maybe not quite as well as pressure you were given with Syndra last time, but you could still do a lot with it. That I think, again, SIT's combo might be really good here with this team. But again, you do have a really good engage and disengage also coming out of TA. So let's see how it plays out. Hopefully, we get a game 3 and maybe, SIT does, same thing again, but, it goes into their favor this time around.
Yeah, definitely. Also excited to see Reform top on this Gangplank, right? He got himself a nice early game lead on that Tryndamere last time around. Unfortunately for him, ended up throwing it back into Antiqua's hands just a little bit, and some nice teleports from the Gwen later. She was right back in the game, right up competing with him. This time around, he's going to be on the Gangplank. He's going to be the one that wants to farm on up and get a little bit stronger later. Really curious to see how he ends up playing the lane here, as well as Antiqua now, who's going to have a little bit more brawling power in those first couple couple levels, right? The script has really been flipped, especially on this early game top lane. I want to see what effects that has on these two top laners. We're going to throw it to a quick break now while we get loaded onto the Rift for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. See if Steven's Law Gray is going to be able to fight back in this series, or if Team Ambition Prime is going to claim it in 2. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where Steven's Law Gray, with a surprising loss in game number 1, they were really set up for a closeout there, but huge fight back from Team Ambition Prime. Now find themselves up 1-0 in this series, 1 win away from getting off to a 1-0 start to the Aegis Defenders League, but could be Stevens fighting their way back here, as they demonstrated in the last game. They have what it takes to get a lead. They have what it takes to get a big lead. And if they can repeat that this time around, would very much surprise me to see Team Ambition fight their way back again. But in the early game here, Sakurva finding a nice little trade there on a Creed Tricks, but it doesn't look like there's too much follow-up to be had.
No, it's definitely a respect thing of like, hey, you know what, you try going after us, we're going to go after you kind of a thing. And, you know, make sure you kind of get punished a little bit, because even though Jarvan's going to most likely solo that red side there, it's fine. Like, he's not gonna really benefit too much, or, you know, be at a disadvantage too much for losing a little bit of health. Oh, Antiqua.
A nice little level 1 trade here from Antiqua. He should be stronger than Reformed top here. Has the Conqueror, has that left hook, right hook combo coming on through. But Reformed top, he navigates it pretty well, ends up trading pretty closely in health, and can regen back on up with that Grasp of the Undying. Sakurva and Creed Tricks trading it out early on as well. Let's see how these champions are going to be able to utilize their sustain tools to come out ahead in these lanes off these early trades. Nice hook from Lataco to start off the lane once again. He mirrored of last game so far, and this time not going to have that Black Shield as Reform top, just taking a bunch of abuse here from Antiqua, responding with some shots, but Pit Grit going to keep him pretty close to topped off.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of really unfortunate thing is, like, when you're going against a set early on, you know, usually isn't too bad because you can kind of usually hold yourself out, but you're Gangplank. You're trying to just poke, do as much as you can, and unfortunately, it's just he's getting pushed in the tower. That's getting early ward out right now, so you can see when the jungler's coming, and yeah, I mean, it's not going too great yet, but it doesn't mean it's not too horrible yet either for Reform top. I mean, he is down a little bit of mana. I know he does have 2 of those corrupting pots there, but you don't want to burn through those too quickly.
Definitely don't want to here. He's only chugged 1 tick of the corrupting potion so far. Now it's going to be another hook landed by Lataco, trading back onto Respirit, but they're feeling just fine. Land the Pulverize back on away. Now it is going to once again just be everybody returning back to their farming, keeping an eye on these junglers. They're on opposite sides of the map this time around. Does mean they aren't going to be able to respond to each other's first gank, assuming that they do happen on this side of the map. Reformed has got to be careful here. He's got a Hecarim coming on towards him. Ghost going to be available. They go on in. That's a nice face breaker coming on through. The flash comes in. It's going to be Reformed top, just barely escaping there, but he does have to blow that crucial summoner spell.
Yeah, because even though as much as you can eat an orange, you can't eat an orange forever. So, unfortunately, it does have to burn that flash there. But Taco and Kargi realize, hey, they're playing up pretty far there. So someone might be in the tri-brush there. Let's just kind of just back up.
That's an excellent read there, I think, from Kargi and Lataco. I might be crazy. They might have seen him, but I'm pretty sure they just realized that Jarvan's got to be somewhere. He's not responding to top lane. He might be coming in for this dive, and they back on away. If that is the case, you know, excellent read there by Corgi and Lataco. Otherwise, bad just showing there in an unfortunate position. Either way, though, great play here by this bottom lane. They're all going to retain all of their summoner spells, unlike Reformed, who had to blow both there off the back of that gank, and is now going to be in a tough position up against Antiqua as his wave is shoving on in. Hecarim's on the bottom side for now, but he's got to be pretty careful. Though Antiqua taking a lot of health here. Gangplank stepping on up, looking for the trades, has 1 more shot to be able to finish it off. He's diving the turret, though. Will end up trading it 1-for-1, but the first blood going to end up going over to Reform top. Now the gank in the bottom lane for the side of Evolution. That's going to be Respirit forced to flash on away. Is going to end up going down regardless. And Corgi off of the reset, going to try to finish off a kill on a PBS. Not quite going to be able to do it, though. Sorkrevug is going to show up here just a little bit too late to make anything happen. Has to slink back to the mid lane along with Creedtrix, who used the teleport to respond.
And Sakura, unfortunately, just weren't able to get down there to try to help on that time point, but I think it's still good on them that they only really lost Respirit there. PBS was able to still safely get out, and they're still able to kind of, unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, but, you know, fortunately get something going, but it's not, you know, really too much to their avail. I think that if they could have gotten to Creedtrix, taking a lot there.
Good trade from Bad, but he's getting responded to now. Maybe just bit off a little bit more than he could chew, going in for those last couple of auto attacks. Gonna be chunked very low. Will be able to escape and get off the recall, though. And Creedtrix now gonna be pretty low. Keep an eye for when Sokrva hits this level 6. We'll be able to steal away the Shadow Surge. We'll be able to go in up against Creedtrix here. Throws out the Abduct. Doesn't end up landing it there. That would have been the kill. Instead, just going to have to return to his minion wave for Spirit. Going to return to bot to cover PVS here. Nice little roam timer from the Alistair off the opposing team's recall, but nothing going to come of it this time.
Nothing going to come from it, I think, right now, but I'm looking at that. They're going to start Drake here, coming out from TA, which I think is smart. You already had the wave pushed up. Everything's kind of in your favor. Both mid and bot are getting pushed in, and you have a jungler top. Like, it's really good for them. Reform needs to get out, though.
Yeah, does have level 6, though. Could try to make this happen. Throws it down on top of himself. Just going to stand in the middle of the cannon barrage. Trying to trade back up against Antiqua. Fires out 1 more shot. Antiqua just not respecting the damage of the Gangplank. Ends up giving over the kill. And now using that passive. Trying to escape. No Q going to be available for just a little bit longer. W already used as well. Means it is going to be a 1-for-1. Now Sokrva going to steal away that depth charge. Trying to turn this fight around. But Creedtrix just turns it back on him. Gets the reset on the Shadow Surge. And now is going to go for Bad as well. Who can't escape any longer. Throws on down the ultimate, but she's not going to be able to make the trade happen. Latako picks up that kill, and it's 5 for 2 in favor of Stevens.
Yeah, good use of Shadow Surge, though, just because of the fact that, even though you're able to layer up just everything there between Latako and Creatrix, unfortunately, Sakura, it was a good choice to take the depth charge. It just wasn't enough for Bad to get there in time. By the time Bad gets there, it's just a little too unfortunate. You have Evolution, who was coming in the wings there from the top side, that could have just even made it worse for him if he tried to go anywhere else, but unfortunately, not going to work out. Ooh, Evolution, what are you doing?
Finding Reformed top here. They're just going to trade some auto attacks back and forth, though. Hecarim going to return back to the river. Doesn't care too much about a couple of little shots from Reformed, but Reformed continuously managing to succeed in these trades, is giving his life every time, is killing the set in response. He's taking another trade here. That's going to be the ultimate coming on through, but gets oranged out of by Reformed, dodging away from the dredge line as well. He's playing this so well, is going to be able to retreat back to his turret. Evolution says otherwise, though, dives on in there with the ultimate. Will end up trading, though, as Alistair comes on through to be able to finish off the kill. Respirit finishes that for himself. Now Antiqua trying to retreat away, but Bad trying to finish off the kill. Will be able to do so. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Team Ambition in the top lane. Reformed top continues to outplay these engages on himself and survives it for it.
I mean, he shows he's a really good player. I mean, just for the fact that, one, he's able to trade, able to get all this damage out. Ooh, Creatrix.
Yeah, that's the Sakura picking on up that Shadow Surge. Will get the solo kill. Just finishes on off. Gets another kill for himself. Getting Team Ambition back in this game. It was looking like a replay of game number 1 there for a little bit, but just like that, Team Ambition fight their way back in. They play around Reform top, they get success up there, and now the stolen away Shadow Surge for Sakura picks up a solo kill in the middle lane.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at it here, I mean, Phoebus getting traded down a little bit there, even though he's holding on to that 4th shot. Oh no.
PVS going to be forced to flash away there. No Onslaught of Shadows available for Evolution, so it looks like PVS will be able to just walk this one on out. Takes another little rocket from Corgi, but they will be able to retreat for now. Another dive being set up in the top lane, and Antiqua got to be very careful here. Going to end up going down. Doesn't have the flash quite yet. Just 1 or 2 more seconds. Will get it. Now trying to escape. Reform top flashes after, looking for the last Q. It's just going to end up going down to the turret, but the oranges make it okay. Antiqua coming back on in, though. No more dashes available, but gets the max range face breaker. Finishes off the solo kill in a 3 versus 1. Huge play by Antiqua there to get himself back in the lane.
Antiqua, it's just really good by playing out the way that she did. It's kind of like what Reform Top was doing. You just kind of have to see what's going to really work for you. Make sure you can play into the direction that you need to. And it was really good. Ooh, of course, the also coming out there for PVS, but not quite the kill secure that he wanted. But again, Tet was able to just rely on his pass.
Ooh, Sakura staying alive there with the Kingslayer, gets feared, but will be able to stay alive. Corgi biting off more than he can chew there, as PVS going to be able to finish off that kill, and Respirit running interference up against this Hecarim, going to keep his AD carry safe. Evolution continues to try to go aggressively here, but Bad is arriving here. Flag and Drag going to be available. Ultimate not quite yet, but the flash is there as well. Latako not going to be able to survive for very long. Exhaust comes through. The flash is made as well by Bad, and they get themselves 2 kills in the bottom lane.
Yeah, 2 kills in the bottom lane, and it's just going really well for them. I mean, you're looking at the fact that it's now putting them into a little bit better of a lead than they were kind of having that last game. Now that even though they are still down a little bit by gold, that's fine. You look at Drag is up on them. You have the tie, for kills right now. So no real bad thing kind of coming out of them. It's just, unfortunately, they're roaming a little bit more to get these kills. And that's fine. I mean, they're just doing what they need to do. Now, we do see Drags up here. In 8 seconds, going to be a Mountain Drake. What would you like to see as our soul?
Ooh, what would I like to see on our soul? It's got to be Hextech or Ocean, right? You never want to see the Cloud Soul. Cloud Soul, disappointing every time. I know some people are fans. I know it's got its own little fan base saying that it's better than it is, and it's got a better win rate than Ocean Soul and whatever. it just feels bad. Although Hecarim, one of the better users of it, so that's going to be a big engage coming on through. Latako not even going to be able to use the flash. The chain CC is just too strong. The stolen away Onslaught of Shadows doesn't even get used. That's going to be another kill picked up for Team Ambition. They get the Dragon as well. Now looking to pressure onto Evolution, perhaps even farther. Corgi is getting chased as well. Respirit going to have the headbutt pull combo, throws it on down. Sakura has the Onslaught, just doesn't want to use it though. Is just holding on to it here. At some point, this Sylas has got to dive on in, but it's just not going to happen here. Finally, dives through onto the back line off the back of the Shadow Surge. That's going to be a nice stasis from Respirit to stay alive. And now the Curtain Call coming on through as well to try to poke out some more health bars. So far, it's just one kill picked up. Latako has arrived back from dying earlier on. Creatrix throwing the Mistral Bolts over the wall, but finally Team Ambition are going to decide to back away.
Yeah, I mean, and this thing too is like, you kind of wonder why you're holding it for so long, but when you kind of realize there was a TP coming to you, oh, Antiqua.
Yeah, Antiqua and Reform Top in a 1v1 once again. That showstopper combo, it's just never going to work. He's going to oranges out of it every single time. Just going to be a trade of ultis in the top lane. I think that's worth it if you're Antiqua, though. Reformed has to blow that Cannon Barrage, means he can't use it around the map to provide pressure.
Right, so this way, like, if a T-Bite does happen anytime soon, you don't have to worry about it, which is good. And it's not like he's got too many Silver Serpents yet where he's going to be able to get more damage out with it yet, but he's getting there. One of the things I was just want to circle back to was just like, yeah, I mean, you look at that, you had Sakura just holding on to that ult, and you're like, well, what are you doing? And then you see that Creatrix TP'd in, so you're like, okay, someone's going to get weak to bait in the Shadow Surge, so then you could go and just kind of collapse on her, try to do as much damage as possible with as much CC there, and then, you know, you also have Stopwatch coming out from Spirit there. Evolution, uh-oh.
It's going to be the ultimate blown there by the Hecarim, but otherwise, not too much to be found. Sakura pushing on up in this middle lane. Has the steal, but so far has not committed it to anything. And, you know, if you can get out of the Hecarim gank, force him to blow the ultimate, it's going to be pretty valuable there for the side of Team Ambition. The gold is neck and neck here. So far, nobody been able to take a firm lead, but the Dragons are favoring TA. You're going to want to keep that stack going, but for right now, they're taking control over the top side. They've got 4 members up here to pressure onto this Rift Herald. They can take it if they want, but they got to commit pretty quickly here, as PVS is going to have a lot of trouble defending this bottom lane, especially if Evolution tries to dive him.
Yeah, oh, we have a DC. Oh, no. Oh.
Okay, we got to reconnect. The readies are coming on through. I think we're going to be able to just unpause here in a few short moments. But it's good. It gives us a breath from the action. We're at a little over a kill a minute, so been plenty of kills to be had already.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, like, now gold's kind of even too, since they got the second Drake. So there really isn't too much of a difference other than, yeah, you're up 2 kills right now. And, you know, all the turrets are up. So really kind of going in favor of them. Now, this time around, they're going to be able to take that first Rift Herald, too, coming out from TA.
Definitely here's the break going to end. We are going to return to the gameplay as this bot lane turret will end up going on down to the side of Stevens. Just a little too many resources committed by Team Ambition to the top side to take that Rift Herald. They end up giving over the first turret gold, which will swing the gold a little bit back towards Stevens' favor.
Yeah, a little bit in the favor. I mean, you have to look at that. Hey, you get the first turret. You need to make sure that you can try to just get some lead somewhere, even if it's in your bot lane, who is kind of staying pretty even. You're 1-1 compared to a 1-0 3 Gen, who only has like a 5 CS difference. Your items are going to be relatively about the same. Yeah, they're both coming back with their mythics, so there really isn't too much of a lead either way. So I think that's kind of good if you can get them out of the lane. Then it forces maybe Reform to get away from Set. Set can maybe handle, you know, PVS and Respirit there, and then do okay, or just try to rotate out and see where they can get some more turrets going. Because yeah, unfortunately, I thought we would see the first turret go down a lot sooner with both of these teams.
Yeah, for certain here is Antiqua Once again, trading up with Reformed top. At some point, this Gangplank's just going to get stronger and stronger in these 1v1s, but Set has the Gore Drinker, feels strong enough to go for it. Triforce completed for Reformed top, not going to be enough to even the odds. 30 seconds to go on this next drag, and Reformed top taking the recall will have the teleport up just in time here. Antiqua also going to use his to rejoin in this middle lane, but the engage going to be stopped short. Going to mean that a little bit of control. Oh, that's going to be a dredge line landed onto bad, but the engage gets started by Respirit anyway. Gangplank channeling the teleport, going to arrive a little bit farther away from this fight. Showstopper comes on through, but gets dodged away, followed up with by the onslaught of shadows. That's going to be PBS jumped on in the back line, ends up just getting one shot, but they're held up under this turret. It's a 2-for-1 so far, but they've lost their Silas as well. Gangplank may have just shown up to this one just a little bit too late. Reform top trying to take this fight in the back line. Can't even 1v1 Corgi though. It looks like it's Steven's Law Gray coming out ahead with the fight. It's a 3-for-2 so far, and Bad about to fall down as well. Reform top chasing after his lane opponent, trying to protect his jungler, running into Creed Tricks here, trying to take the 1v1, will be able to win it out, but he's gonna trade his life over to Corgi for it. It's a 4-for-3 in favor of Steven's Law Gray. They're gonna claim the mid outer turret, and they should be able to get themselves this dragon.
Yeah, I mean, you get another turret down, you had a good amount of kills there, you get yourself a little bit of a lead. Drake should be pretty easy to take. Bad is around there. You do have Sakura TPing in right now, which kind of alerts them like, hey, we need to back off here. It's just the two of us. We do have the rest of our team now, other than Creed, so it is going to be potentially a fight here for this Drake. We do get a Hextech Soul again.
Yeah, it is going to be Team Ambition here being the first ones for the party as well. Fight about to get started. It's less than a minute after the last one, but they're willing to start it up once again. Sakura tries to throw himself into the fight, but it's just going to get one shot. Antiqua here is dominating the fight. The Dragon going to go over to the side of Stevens. PBS trying to kite it on out, but is in a 4-versus-1. He's going to fall on down to the side of Creed Tricks. 3 kills for 0 for Steven's Law Gray. The first Dragon for Steven's Law Gray, and now they have themselves a gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be really good for them, getting that first strike again. Now they're getting a slight lead right now, which is good. You have up 2 kills, you're up 2 turrets. You're able to still kind of keep all these outer turrets still alive. You know, and it's 18 minutes. Actually, over 18 minutes here. And it's kind of really just showing that they're rotating very well, trying to do what they can to protect their side and, you know, punish them at the same time for TA. So, as much as we're thinking the game might be a little bit different, it seems like it's kind of swinging back into, you know, we're seeing last game where they kind of took a lead a little bit for a while. Some of it's now starting to go back towards Steven's Law Gray. So I would be interested to see what kind of happens from here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that last fight, well, the fight before the last fight, very close, but Stevens gets their angle in onto PVS to be able to win it out there. The second one from Team Ambition just the smells of desperation a little bit, though. They're trying to force their way into that dragon. They want to keep the stack going for themselves, but they just do not have the members. They don't have the ultimates. They end up losing the fight as a result pretty heavily. Worse than the first one there, 3-0. Now they find themselves substantially on the back foot. Their dragon stacking has been interrupted. Baron spawning here in about 15 seconds. They're going to need to start returning to form here, going back towards those successful fights earlier on, getting the engages on their own terms, but making sure that they have the abilities and they have the items to really be able to take them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, if you don't really have the items to take them, you shouldn't be trying to force fights or anything there. Oh, PVS.
Another Shadow Surge gets landed. PVS using the fancy footwork to dodge away from a couple of abilities, but that last Mistral Bolt gonna be enough to take him out. Killing spree for Creed Tricks there. He blows the flash to do it, but will be able to finish on off PVS, take that Jit off the map.
And that Mistral Bolt is just really good just because, again, even though you can have that fleet footwork, fancy footwork going on for you too, it's just not as easy to dodge everything as much as you like, because you look at the Mistral Bolt, it's pretty wide compared to some of the other abilities that some of the mid-lane mages have, and as much as we'd like to see them potentially to get away from that, it's just not going to be the case here. So we do see Drake's going to be up in 2 minutes. Baron's up. I'm surprised they're not trying to focus maybe top side a little bit more, like top mid. you do see sets in the bot lane. I guess he does have TP.
And still no turrets claimed here for Team Ambition. This is the same issue that they encountered in game number 1, right? That they just weren't able to bust through that mid-outer. They weren't able to open up the map. They weren't able to get into the opposing team's jungle. And they were playing a lot of these plays from the back foot as a result. And now they're finding themselves in similar situations here. They've lost control of the map once again. They weren't really able to take their early lead and move it into any of those outer turrets. And so they find themselves, once again now, being forced to play from the back foot around these river fights.
Yeah, and sometimes that's what you have to do is play from the back. But the problem is this is not what you want. You want to be kind of going in there. And part of the problem is you have Creatrix, who again is playing that, Vex here, which is really good. You have Tiqua, who's performing very well here this time around on the set. And, kind of putting that lane that hurt into Reform top that, even though you have a good old,
They're trying to make the engage happen onto Evolution here, who is going to be forced to ult away. One more shot from the Showstopper, going to be able to finish off that kill. Meanwhile, now Sakuraba getting engaged on by Antiqua with the Showstopper in the bottom lane. Antiqua getting chased down. It's going to be the shutdown coming on through for Reform top, and now the resets are coming through in the mid lane. There's already another Shadow Surge landed onto the opposing jungler. Creatrix going to get that third reset there off the back of it. It's a 2 for 2 across the map here, but Baron may be going to be in the cards here for Steven, so they have no set, they have no Hecarim, they have nobody to tank it.
Yeah, no one to really tank it, and even if you had Lataco do it, he's just going to get whittled down pretty easy. You'd have to switch between him and Creatrix, which at that point, I think it's better. What you're seeing doing is that they're scouting out wards, try to get this second Drake for themselves here. It's coming up here in about 3 seconds, so I think that's just going to be the better move, which is what they opt to do right now. You have to look at, you have Bad down, so Bad's not going to be able to steal it away. Evolution's right here to secure it just in case. And again, we're going to see another 2 Hextech Drakes going towards them. So, but we do see top lanes down. So, no top lane outer turret now. They have finally cracked through for TA Prime.
Indeed they have. They get their first one of the game there, but the top lane outer, that's not going to give you the map pressure I was talking about. You really want that mid outer so that you could find some opportunities to move into the opposing jungler, get some wards down, and feel more comfortable pushing into the river to get those wards down. And as of yet, it's been really tough for Team Ambition to be able to do that. They get a nice pick, though, on the top side onto Evolution. They turn it into a second kill there onto Antiqua. But otherwise, they end up losing 2 members on the backside, and everything ends up being pretty much even again.
Yeah, everything ends up being even, which is okay. I mean, honestly, there could be worse things happening, I think, on either side, but PBS is definitely trying to get that mid turret going, but not going to be the case. You do see that Taco here is in the wings. You see Respirit does see him, but is it really worth trying to fight right now where you don't know where Hecarim is? You see Antiqua is coming down right now to see if he can set up for potentially taking this Baron here. And they might as well just do it.
Definitely moving into the jungle here are the side of Team Ambition. They recognize the threat this time. They had a Baron snuck out from under them in game number 1. Certainly didn't like the feeling of that. So going to be being a little bit more proactive about their Baron control this time around. Still having some issues getting into the river, though. The scanner is popped for Respirit. They have these tanky frontliners to at least be able to lead the charge in. They got to be careful. Lataco just going to go right in with the dredge line, trying to lock down here on to Bad, who's going to flash over the wall. But now here's the re-engage. Respirit gets the knock up onto 2. Curtain Call gets thrown on down. Lataco getting bursted on out is going to be the first one to fall. But now Bad is stuck on the wrong side of the jungle. Is just going to get one shot there. So much damage there from the Haymaker and that Vex. Going to be a 1-for-1 so far. Support for jungler. With Bad off the map, Team Ambition have to be very careful now that Stevens don't just try to force the Baron.
I mean, they could, and they really should, I think, honestly. I mean, you don't have Bad up anymore. Ooh.
Another re-engage. That's going to be the Alistair thrown into the backline onto PBS. Respirit gets one shot. That's going to be Facebreaker pulling on in PBS. He falls as well. It's a 2-3 kill lead now for the side of Stevens. They've dominated the fight. They get their set into the backline. Without Bad, they just can't get the fight started the way they want to. And Stevens now have full control over the Baron. Bad is respawning, but I don't think it steals of the cards this time, Gigatron.
It's not, but you look at it could be a little bit faster coming out.
Oh my god, maybe it is. showing up here, just not quite fast enough. The Hex Gates are wild, though. They almost made the Jarvan able to be getting there in time. Reform Top going to escape with his life just barely. And now a major gold lead for the side of Stevens, getting ready to try and close on out this game the way they couldn't in game number 1. But they've got a similar lead here, sitting at 5K ahead.
Similar lead, you have a Baron go to them this time. You look at that. I think if they didn't use the barrel there, it might have been up that little bit longer. That maybe Bad would have tried to take the risk, even though it definitely would not have been the best move. But I think that it could have worked out. It may not have, and you just take that risk. I mean, you already know, like, hey, either they get it or they don't. It's just first Baron. I think they had Baron last time, and it was second Baron that got stolen away.
It's a 50-50. They either get it or they don't.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this time around, we're going to see that it does not go to their case. But that's fine. Antiqua trying to clear out these wards here. Get Drake up in less than a minute. Who do you think is going to get it here at this point? I mean, you already have the Baron buff on them. They're already here.
Oh, Soccer Bud getting a little bit caught on out here. Going to steal away the Death Charge. He gets hit by the Shadow Surge, though. That's going to be a one-shot for Creed Tricks. Gets the reset on the ultimate, and now 5 versus 4. Steven's a little gray. I think they're going to get the Dragon Gigatron. I think they've got full control over this bottom side of the map. They got the numbers advantage as well. They land another Shadow Surge, too. It's Creed's going to go for this. Has the Fear, follows it up with another one from the Hecarim. Takes out Bad. Now, what about the rest of the fight? Evolution going to go on down inside of Reform, but Creed gets another reset, gets another kill, fires out another Shadow Surge, goes in once again. He wants to clean up this whole fight, and he's gonna do it. That's a triple kill going on over to this Vax. Creed Tricks dominates the fight, 9-2 and 10 on it, and is going to look to close on out this game for the side of Stevens Law Gray.
Man, I think it's the Vex. The Vex is just the kind of like that sweet spot. You had Vex last time around that just was able to do those Shadow Assaults and just was Shadow Searches, I should say. We do see.
Okay. Sakura trying to fight this one on out here, but nah, finally gonna end up going down. Bad is the only one alive for about 10 more seconds. Don't think he can carry this, and just like in game number 1, it's an ace that just gets slammed right through the base. They take out the first inhibitor and the Nexus all in the very same push. Stevens Law Gray going to force us to a game 3 here.
Yeah, and you have to look at that. Again, I think of the Vex. The Vex is kind of that carry. The Vex was just able to provide just more of that pressure that when you're able to do that Shadow Surge, get on top of people, you saw it. It literally just would pop people just immediately. And you're just like, oh my god, what's going to happen here? And then you have the Onslaught of Shadows coming out from Evolution there, followed by Kargi's Rockets coming in. You had Antiqua just trying to do whatever he can to just hit as many of his fits into people as possible, and that's just where that kind of just went all over for them. I mean, you hope that you wouldn't have seen Sakura get kind of just picked out there, and that maybe it could have been going a different way, but you also have to look at, I believe, PVS or Respirit was the one that went back, and then that kind of caused the issue of like, okay, now they're definitely going in because you had that Shadow Surge going, and you could just keep getting those resets and just keep going and going and going. And that's why you saw that, that don't kill into Earth there. They were just like, you know what? As much as I want to go in and do things, you can't. You really need to back up and just hope that she just doesn't burst it down, because she's just really a monstrosity right now.
Yeah, and that's 100% win rate Vex now in this series,
yeah.
Gigatron. The super late game team fighting power ends up making so much of a difference. Definitely had a little bit more to do with the win in game number 2 than in game number 1, but is able to get so many resets there, able to run away with it in that last fight, and then just really great play from Antiqua all around once again. I gotta say here, has had 2 fantastic games already tonight, and on the set here, despite falling a little bit behind early on, giving Reform Top some of the early gold, was really able to come through and be a big force in these later game team fights, continuously finding ways to ride members back in onto PVS and make sure that this Jhin ended up being a non-factor. We're going to throw it to a quick break now, but coming up real soon is going to be game 3 between Stevens Law Gray and Team Ambition Prime to find out who's going to take our first series of the ADL split, so don't go anywhere. We're going to bring you all the action in just a few short moments.
Everybody panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League, where Stevens Law Gray still sitting on the blue side, taking on Team Ambition Prime on the red. And Stevens has gotten themselves a lead in both games so far. Team Ambition fought back a little bit more in the early game, in game number 2, but still ended up being Stevens taking the lead. They've just only been able to close it out once. So really going to have to see Team Ambition probably taking a little bit of a different game plan this time around. We've seen nearly identical first threes from both teams in Game 1 and Game 2. This is the game where I'd like to see Team Ambition maybe try to change things up a little bit. Maybe move away from the Jhin, maybe move away from the Jarvan, and see what else you can make happen in this draft.
Yeah, I would like to see a couple new people coming out from TA Prime, and especially in, I would say, both of those roles, just because not that they didn't perform. I think it's just we've seen it enough, like of knowing what you could do. Let's see if we could have a different combo come out from you guys. Like, do we see like if they're gonna pick Jinx again? Pick someone else that's got good range. Like take Caitlyn or take I would say Zeri, but Zeri's banned this week. Just someone that can still provide that pressure, but don't feel like you're just gridlocked into always playing Jhin each game. Oh!
I like this. I like this Ziggs. This is PVS's most played in solo queue. As far as what's enabled right now, he plays a lot of the Zeri as well. At least has been, but Zeri not going to be enabled, as you said. The Ziggs paired up with the Nautilus here. I like this strategy for the side of Team Ambition. They can go for the heavy early push strategies, try to take down some of those turrets. We talked about that in game number 2. It's been a struggle to take down the outer turrets. Ziggs, probably the best champion in the game at being able to finally get those last bits taken on off. So I like this strategy for Team Ambition. Happy to see them go in for the Bombardier this time around.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like this. I think you have a really good kind of combo. You got the slows from the Minefield, you have the slows from the Riptide coming out from Nautilus there. You can set up pretty well with just the CC he comes with. And you see that Leona's going to be picked on the other side as like the counterpart to try to disable all out of that CC coming in.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Leona coming on through from Stevens, and now Team Ambition, they're hovering the cane, they lock it in for bad. They are
Oh,
moving away from the Jarvan strategy, Gigatron. They are trying to snowball this game early and snowball this game hard. They've got this cane to try to get early kills, to try to run away with it. They've got the Ziggs to tear down the turrets once they get an opportunity to actually shove on up a lane. Really like what they're going for here.
yeah, I think I like this too, just because of the fact that again, you're providing a lot more early game, a lot more tower pressure this time around. You're able to create more of a map opening with this, and if you can play around your cane pretty well, whichever form you're gonna go with, even whether you're going blue, red, or purple. At this point, yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see how they can try to disable Hecarim that little bit more, see how they can create a different laning phase then for the spot lane here. Um, because, okay, we're going to see Vex band out. I think that's a smart call at this point because you know they got what you have first pick, so you can always just take it. But
It would
I don't know.
solidify the 100% Vex win rate. And yep, that's going to be
Yeah.
locked on in. It means Vex losing no games tonight will be banned away here for the game number 3. And now what do the side of Stevens want to take away here with their final ban? Something blindable, perhaps, although, the Syndra band, the Vex band, the Corki band, a lot of the mid laners that have been defining this series thus far are not going to be available. Silas is still up. Team Ambition have already shown that they're willing to blind pick it, but it wasn't crazy in game number 2. You might be willing to leave that one up. It is going to be the Rumble ban instead.
Out Rumble, I think it's okay, just because of the fact that I don't know, it's a really good team fighter that you just don't want to go against.
All right, so the Gwen going to be the lock in here. It's going to be a blind top for the side of Reformed, and they're going to save the counter pick for Sakrava. Excited to see what he might be able to bust on out here. But now, what do they take against the Gwen for the side of Antiqua? Already have praised
Gnar.
this man quite a bit this series. Gnar being hovered. Close on out a set of 3 very good top lane games. Perhaps with the Gnar, it is going to be locked on in. Fully functional up against the Gwen. Sometimes your Boomerang gets immune, but this is a champion you're willing to allow such outcomes in. And now they got to blind pick the mid lane with a whole lot of the pool taken away. Victor is disabled for anyone keeping track at home due to a bug with his E. So instead, it's going to be the Silas locked on in blind.
I think Silas Blind 2 is really good. Again, you still have some really good ultimates that you're taking, but as we saw last time around, not quite the caliber that we usually see with Silas, where he kind of gets very ahead. Cassidy, now I like that, especially if you're going scaling.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that based on their first round of drafts that they were going for early game. So I'd be a little surprised to see the Cassidy come on through. Now the Jace instead, that makes a lot more sense to me, baby. Team Ambition, this comp wants to run away with the game early. They want to use this Jace to push on up mid, pair him up with the Kayn, make roams happen, get kills in the Kayn, get the transformation early, snowball away with it for the side of bad, and use all of that to grant opportunities for Ziggs to be able to blow on up these turrets and just push on through quicker and quicker and quicker, get a huge gold lead, turn that into the Dragon Soul. It's a great recipe for success here. Meanwhile, Stevens, they're drafting the same kind of composition that we've seen out of them every time. They had their Nautilus denied, but they're willing to replace that one with a Leona easy peasy, and are now still going for this team fight strategy. They've got the Gnar now, who's going to be coming on through with that big ultimate in the later game. Huge team fight power there, and now they've claimed the Silas for themselves. Has a few alright ultimates to steal away from. Umbral Trespass, the Depth Charge, the Mega Inferno Bomb. Can't hate on any of those here from the side of your Silas, and felt safe with it as a blind pick here. Gonna have a rough matchup up against the Jace, though. Eye's gonna be on Creed Tricks to see how he's gonna be able to navigate this as a melee into Jace. That's never a fun time.
No, it's never a fun time with that, but you can look at that Jace could switch to both forms so he can do more of that melee or that range. Obviously, he's going to try and do more range to poke out, see what he can do for trading, seeing if maybe he can provide that pressure that he needs to there. And then you also look at this top side, you have Gnar and Gwen. Gnar, like you talked about, it's okay to lose a Boomerang once in a while. No big deal. It's like
it still comes back, too. You don't even lose it. You just don't get the damage. So it feels pretty all right.
Yeah. Like, you don't lose out other than, like you said, damage more than losing it, kind of a thing. So I think it's just trying to figure out what is going to work well with this. Because, I mean, again, this is a very all-in champion there for Gnar. Gnar could go in and Gwen, doesn't matter what the circle is. He's going to come and hit a lot and hit hard once he transforms. So I would definitely be interested to see how this game goes.
Yeah, it's not like the top lane Yasuo, the old school Gnar counter, where he deletes your boomerang and then you just have nothing, and you're really, really vulnerable for a little while there. Gwen will immune it, but you can just catch it as it comes back to you, feel just fine with that one, and throw it out again once that mist expires. I'm really more interested to see what the Hecarim is going to be able to make happen up against this Gwen, though. Should be able to make stuff happen in the early game. That's always who we're going to be looking for. And now, not being up against the Jarvan, instead up against the Kayn, is going to have a little bit of a 1v1 advantage. Is also going to have a little bit of a ganking power advantage. So, going to be looking to see if he's going to be able to punish some of these pushing lanes. Things like the Jace, things like the Ziggs, that are just going to naturally be shoving out the lane after the first couple of levels are done. That's where you want to see the Hecarim try to make plays early on and try to see Evolution getting his team ahead if they want to close on out this series and if they want to repeat the kind of fantastic early games that we've seen out of them so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's been performing very well with the Hecarim there. I think if he can, like you said, just get some good ganks going on early, see if they can pressure out potentially the Kayn, wherever Kayn's at, try to do that counter gank, or try to just get that lead either on a Gwen or on a Jace even. Because I feel like it's going to be a little harder to get on Ziggs. Ziggs could just satchel back, just try to get away. You have the minefield that he can throw down just to make sure that everyone's slowed. So even though you're charging in, it might not go quite in the favor that he would like, essentially. So be interested to see.
Definitely will be here. So now, or finishing out our last bits of the loading screen, but gonna be a lot to keep an eye on. I've got to watch the top lane this time around. We talked about how Gwen could do a lot to immune the boomerang, but Antiqua and Reform Top have been going at each other's throats this entire series long. In game one is the Tryndamere versus Gwen. Tryndamere going for the early dives, getting the kill as early as level 1. Game number 2 was much of the same, dude. The gangplank in the set, trading early on. Both times we've seen Reform Top pre-level 6 diving in the 1 versus 1 and ending up getting taken out by the turret. It doesn't seem like what you want to do on Gwen top, but I mean, I have no idea what to expect from this top lane anymore. But I'm getting prepared to see some action.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to expect either, but I think you look at, hey, you know what, if you can get that early trade, do really well there, and see if you're to kill again, maybe you do it, just because of the fact that, hey, you know what, if that puts you up that little bit faster, you get to survive in the end kind of a thing, then, you're playing scaling champion. You want to make sure that, hey, can I get that lead ahead and abuse it as much as possible kind of a thing. So we'll see what they do.
We certainly will. We're going to throw it to one final break tonight as we get loaded onto the Rift, but do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back with Steven's Law Grey taking on Team Ambition Prime in our third and final game of the night to see who is going to start off the ADL here with a 1-0 record. Welcome back, everybody, to our third and final game tonight in Week 1 of the Aegis Defenders League. There's Steven's LoL Gray, fresh off a narrow loss in Game 1 and a solid win in Game 2. We're going to be looking to close out this series up against Team Ambition Prime, who showed some nice signs of life in the early game, last game, but still ended up falling behind once the turrets started falling to the side of Steven's LoL Gray. This time, though, they are built from the ground up to snowball early on and to get PvS, destroying these turrets. We'll see if this change of draft style ends up working out for them. Eyes going to be on bad on this Kayn in the jungle. Second most played in solo queue is going to be looking to run away with it on something he's a little bit more comfortable on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how both of them play because, like you said, comfort champions for them. I think that both of those could provide a lot of team fighting and a lot of pressure for them. So I'm hoping that, like you said, if you can snowball both, it's going to go really well in their favor.
Certainly. So it's going to be opposite starts here for the junglers. Reformed top actually going to be leashing for his jungler this game, so really wants to make sure that Bad feels comfortable. Surprised not to see Decay just going for the solo start on the birds with that Q. Wonder if this means that he wants to make a gank happen early on. He's going to take over to that level 2. He's going instead for the full clear, actually. Hopping over to his Krugs. Oh, going to be a little while before Kayn can make anything happen, but makes sense. Is at least going to be safe while he does it.
Yeah, I mean, you can even do this too. You can just take the Krugs and then just go gank top. I mean, you already know top's going to get pushed in. You try and see if you can put some pressure, but looks like it's not going to be the case. He's going to do that full clear like you're talking about.
Yeah, it does just rip through those birds. One of the best birds doers is going to be Kayn. It just gets to double Q and wipe out that whole camp. Meanwhile, Latako still going aggressively in this bottom lane, is off of his Nautilus, but the level 2 first going to be hit by Corgi and Latako. But for Spirit and PvS, they know their position. They can just stay as far back as they need to stay safe and alive. We'll be able to just keep farming it on out. Wow, the full clear is coming through for Bad. Full clear is being matched by Evolution, by the way. Both these jugglers, though, on opposite sides. Doesn't look like either is going to have a great gank opportunity. Bad might try to make something happen up against this pushing bot lane from the side of Stevens. Meanwhile, Reformed top not coming out ahead in these trades, so that's a nice hook landed onto Latako from the Spirit. Now, PvS coming on through with the bombs as well. Having a nice trade there, but they don't really have what it takes to be able to follow up. No ignites available in this bottom lane either. Just going to have to wait a little bit longer, maybe wait for some Kayn assistance before they can think about taking one of these guys down.
Yeah, Kayn, I think, definitely needs to assist one just to get some souls out of him.
Oh, Sakrava losing this early trade on the Jace, down a level, and going to be forced to flash away as a result. Does have the teleport to return to mid lane, but has got to chill out here for a little while, but this is going to be the call-up. Spirit off the pushed-in bot lane has roamed on up. Bad is here as well. If they're going to be able to get their Silas rolling here, that would be a huge deal. Sakrava going to back on away, though. Knows that he's low on HP. There's the flash hook coming on through from Spirit. Evolution is slowed on down here by the exhaust. Bad goes into the wall, trying to chase him on down. Flashes on in, picks up the first blood, takes the blast cone next to Trix. Not going to be able to chase it any farther, but first blood going over to Bad on the Kayn.
Just really good positioning, a really good job by both Respirit and Bad there. Respirit getting that flash hook that was very much needed going on to Evolution, and he positioned very well to make sure that the blast plant was going into his favor.
Yeah,
so
nice immune there from Reformed top, actually. Finds a way to make the mist work even up against that big Mega Gnar. Antiqua, though, he's not slowing down. He really wants to try to get a trade here onto the Gwen, but not really in the cards right now.
Not yet. I think post 6, it's a lot easier for both of them to kind of trade just that little bit more. But I think it could be really beneficial for him just because Mega Gnar, you can jump in, you can get that stun, you can throw your rock, you can, or whatever skin that you have on, as your rock. You can, stun people in the wall with your ultimate. So, yeah, I think it could be really well going on there for him.
Definitely here. Ziggs and Nautilus happy to just keep picking on up these waves, and PvS happy to hold on down the fort while Spirit makes some big plays in the mid lane there. That Flesh Dredge line does so much to lock on down Evolution and get Bad his first really good start in the 1v1 jungle matchup of the series. going to get him that much closer to getting his transformation here on this Kayn. And it means he's already got Iron Spike Whip done here at just about 5 minutes. Going to be that little bit of extra damage that might give Kayn the ability to get these early kills with the snowball that he wants.
Yeah, I mean, he wants the snowball, but it's part of the issue is like trying to get those ganks. It's a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is like, okay, how do you manage everything? Like, do you like try to like make a laner go bait and see if they'll like take the aggressiveness, you know, of being pushed up super far? Do you think that you pull in the Nautilus to see if something can happen? As we see Akram's top side here, I don't know what's really going to be the best. I think you just gotta hope for what's really going to work out, and it's definitely not going to be this top side right now.
It's pairing up with the Nautilus again is what they go for here. The Dredge line comes on through. That's going to be paired up with by the Jace. The steal away the depth charge tries to help out, but just doesn't work out. Sakura going to pick up that kill, and Bad now gets another piece of KP. 2 kills on the board, both of them with his name on them. And, you know, this Nautilus roam strat working out really well. Spirit coming up huge off of 2 big roams. And PBS playing safe in the bottom lane, farming up with bombs. Feels great.
Yeah, I mean, farming up with the bombs, being no problem at all, staying pretty even with CS here. And, yeah, I mean, even though you're getting more of that XP lead, too, because you have Leona still sitting down there for a little bit longer compared to Respirit just being able to kind of roam more freely and, put more of that pressure like you saw there on Silas. That's just like, hey, this is what they kind of need to do is run that 3-man, get that Bad going right now on Kayn, and hoping that, you know, you can switch into forms, you know, as quick as possible and see what he can create and be a snowball menace like you talked about.
Definitely here, Evolution going to take over to level 6 off of that. Gonna give him that Onslaught of Shadows that gives him such a good gank power. Meanwhile, the Umbral Test Press has been picked up for Bad as well. Though what he's really waiting for is that first transformation off the Kayn passive. Really going to make him way, way, way stronger on this map. And 2 kills both on melees here. Going to be well and truly on his way towards the red Kayn, if that is the direction he wants to go. Appears to be itemizing towards Gore Drinker, so you gotta believe that's what his plan is.
Yeah, I would think so, definitely with that, just because Gore Drinker is such a good item. But, hey, look at his top side, like we talked about. We want to see it, and these trades are going really well back and forth. It's not kind of like a side going one way or the other, really.
Definitely here. Antiqua, so far has not been able to do too much to pressure Reformed top. Has a little bit of a CS lead. It'll start to reflect once this wave starts crashing in and R's able to finish it on off. But Reformed doing his best to try to force him to miss at least a couple of these, and it seems to be doing an okay job of it. Meanwhile, Latako left all alone in this bottom lane. Looks like Corgi had to take a recall at some point. Blew the summoner heal as well. And it means that it's just going to be a turret plate falling on over to the side of PVS and Respirit, despite the fact that Respirit's been leaving for quite a bit of this lane time. PVS is finding himself with a CS advantage. Evolution trying to make something happen in the top lane, though. Reform top with the skip and slash, though, has already gotten enough distance, even opting for the flash on Gwen here. So playing incredibly safe up against this Gnar matchup. Is not going to lose his life here or likely ever.
No, and kind of like what we've seen in the last couple games, we're going to see that TA Prime is going to get that first Drake there. It's going to be a Fire Drake again. So I'd like to see... Ooh.
Right as I say that he's never going to die, the dive comes on through. Although he's keeping himself up there with the needlework, dashes away. Antiqua going to finish off the kill, but will end up trading his life 1-for-1. Evolution going to try to finish on off this turret, at least getting a couple of plates. Going to force this wave to die to it as well. Reform top has no teleport. Will be losing quite a bit of gold for his troubles, but at least manages to trade a kill back. Should feel pretty good there as Bad. Trades with Creed tricks, but maybe going a little bit too deep here as Latako is going to arrive as well.
Latako's going to arrive there. I mean, but it's still good for him because now he's getting some souls in that process, so he's able to still make her burn that early pink ward there, which is really good, just because now you can't really use in lane down there, and
Okay.
Taco.
Trading some control wards back and forth. Creedtrix is arriving here, but Bad, he's right there on his favorite camp, just running on through these birds, claiming them for himself. The big one might be a little bit of trouble, but Hecarim's over the way on the top side, so he'll at least be able to complete the counter jungling here this time around. Has himself several camps in the lead, as well as a level in his pocket, so feels very good about how this is going so far. Meanwhile, Reform Top going aggressively in the top lane. Antiqua going pretty low here, but is about to transform into Mega. Bad going to find Latako once again. This Leona just cannot get a clean path back to lane.
No, and you have Nautilus and Kane kind of just bullying her out and trying to just keep them off of this turret here this way. Now Ziggs is getting that free damage on there that hopefully can set up for that satchel, which should be coming up soon. Might not be cool right there yet. Probably needs a few more hits and should be good to go, but yeah, like, this is just that really good pressure that we kind of talked about. Like, hey, you're running that Kane and Nautilus combo that's just roaming around doing whatever they can. But taking a lot more trades again.
Yeah, just using the snip to get on in there, get a little bit of true damage on across, keeping herself fairly well healed. Big Gwen. Bad, meanwhile, still being real aggressive around this mid lane, really looking to just try to get one more little poke off onto a melee champion. Maybe we'll get him just far enough to be able to get the transformation off, and it might be Creedtrix who is the target here. The Shock Blast manages to land. Bad looking to follow up on it, not going to get the slow there off the W. It's just going to be a retreat back. As Bad as not cleared a camp in a while. It's just been kind of walking back up and forth down this river. Now is pathing towards the top side. It's going to be spotted on this control ward. Is Antiqua going to go for the all-in here? Jumps on over, nars him into the wall. Trying to stay alive here. The Humble Trespass going to be available soon, but Bad doesn't even feel the need to use it. Maybe he should have, though. Flashes on away. Antiqua now getting responded to by Reform Top, but Creedtrix has arrived as well. The Needlework not going to keep him alive for too much longer, but might be just enough as he flashes away. And now here comes the Flash Shock Blast from Sakrava. Going to be able to finish off that kill onto Antiqua. It ends up actually just being a kill over for the side of Team Ambition Prime.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of crazy. I mean, you look at it, you thought, okay, hey, Kane's decided finally going to get some CS. Nope, it's going to get brutalized out by Antiqua. Antiqua kind of commits a little too hard there. Reform Top is able to just, again, do that relentless assault that snips onto people. And, oh my god!
Very careful here, going up a little bit too far. Spirit goes in for the dive, throws on down that depth charge, is able to pick up the kill. Antiqua has teleported on in. Spirit going to end up dying here for certain. Stays alive just a little bit longer with the stasis, but isn't really buying any time for anything there. PVS going to be able to retreat up against his Yordle brother down there, but is going to end up being a 1-for-1, but the teleport has to be blown by Antiqua. Will give Reform Top a little bit of time in the top lane later on, but he's also taking a recall for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, he does have to take that recall, which is, you know, a little more unfortunate, but you have to look at that. Yeah, I mean, this just really good by Antiqua coming down to kind of try and stop more of the bleeding happening. You do get a trade in the aspect there, but you see that Rift is pop top here. Might be able to get guided to that second, you know, inner turret there. I don't know. I don't know if Gwen's gonna be able to hit it.
Yeah, and I mean, that teleport from Antiqua looking even better now, because that guarantees first turret for his team. The Rift Herald gets thrown in the top lane to be able to secure that one. Antiqua's teleport in the bottom lane, stop the satchel charge from executing that bottom lane turret, which was already low enough to be taken on out. Now, though, Antiqua gonna get ganked here by Bad, who has got that Rost transformation, should be able to finish off this kill for himself. 2-0-1 now on the Kane. They might be able to finish off this turret in the bottom lane. Actually, they got Ziggs here. They're definitely getting that one. They're getting the second dragon as well, but first turret gold going to still be claimed for Steven's Law Grey.
Yeah, first star gold, and I believe it was first blood too, right? Both went to them? Or did it go to... I thought it was them, right? Or am I wrong?
Yes, yeah, they got the first blood.
Yeah, so both of those still go on them, which is still good, just because of the fact that, hey, they're kind of just showing, again, why they're a really good team, but we see Bad is trying to go in here on Latako. Latako, very tanky. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit too far for the side of Bad. Doesn't even get to use the ultimate before he goes on down. That's a big shutdown for the side of Corgi. Teleport now being channeled by Reformed Top, trying to keep this fight going. The dredge line comes on through, going to lock down on a Creedtrix, who will fall on down to the side of Sakrava. It's a 1-for-1. Definitely not going to be worth it, though, to give over that fat shutdown from your Kane. Still, though, they take control over this bottom side jungle. Antiqua is stuck in the top lane, has already used the teleport, so can't rejoin the fight, and now they're going to try to use their Ziggs to bust on through this mid-inner turret. It's the forbidden technique. Gigatron, Team Ambition Prime have managed to take the mid-outer turret.
And they finally have been able to do it. And again, I think, like you talked about, you have that help now with having the Ziggs. You create not only lane pressure, you're able to take out those turrets easier. You have also someone who can also farm very efficiently. So, in the case that you do have to kind of falter back to where you're getting pushed in that a little bit more, he can mow away waves of farm real quick and easy for him. So, it's going to be real nice in that case. And I think that this is kind of what they needed maybe a little bit sooner than this game. But, you know, we'll see how it pays off just because of the fact that, hey, they finally figured out their dark tech. They finally figured out, you know, hey, we could maybe play towards trying to get more of these turrets now. Looks like they're trying to rotate to this top side here, see if they can get the scuttle. Honestly, I think if they could play top, they could get it pretty easily. I mean, PVS has a lot of mana right now. Respirit and him are both pretty healthy. I say they go for it.
Very possible here. Going to be 3 minutes on the next dragon, so plenty of time to work around with and do whatever your heart pleases here for both teams. It looks like what their heart pleases on Team Ambition is going for a gank down here on this bottom side. Bad coming on through, going to narrowly avoid that Everfrost snare, but doesn't see a good opportunity to go any farther. Respirit going to have that flash up in just a few more seconds, but not quite available to force that fight in the bottom lane. Greedtrix now knows that he's getting engaged on, and so does Evolution, and that means they're coming in for the top side, trying to get on a Reform top. It's a big Gnar, going to force him away, but look at the turnaround. The Mega Inferno Bomb does enough to finish off Evolution, and now Reform top, going to look to chase down Antiqua, flashing away on that Gnar, uses the hop, extends the distance. PVS trying to chase down as well, doesn't have another ulti though, so it doesn't look like they'll be able to catch Antiqua, but here comes Nautilus from the river, and finally they'll be able to finish that one off. They give the kill over to Ziggs, and that's 2-for-0 in the top lane in favor of Team Ambition.
Great job by Respirit there, just to kind of get that last hook in. Just make sure to lock him down, give it the PBS. And Diaz had a really good death bomb there too, just because, hey, that kind of keeps Form Top in there. You're able to just get more of that trading damage. You're able to last as long as you could. And now, they took that top side pretty easy with taking out Antiqua there. So now they're able to kind of go in the jungle here, take some of the farm away from them. Kargi trying to poke out, but now it's kind of swinging back a little bit more into TA's favor. Usually this is kind of not where we've been seeing it, though. This is usually where it kind of flips back to Stevens here in this case.
Yeah, they've successfully executed the team comp as they wanted to here. As I say that, Sakurva getting engaged on here, going to try to knock back away Evolution, but the Solar Flare comes on through from Lataco. They can chain this CC onto Jace all day long. It will be enough for them to give that big shutdown over to the horse in the jungle. Evolution claims himself a good 600 gold shutdown there. But other than that, Team Ambition have been executing their team comp correctly, Gigatron. They got the Jace ahead early. They got the Kayn ahead early. They've been snowballing across the map. They used the Ziggs to take out the turrets. All the outers are down for, I think, the first time this entire series. And they're set up pretty well here, although Team Stevens clearly not done yet. Get themselves a big shutdown to the bottom lane, trying to claim back some ground.
Yeah, I feel like they are they're trying to claim back some ground, but I think the big thing is now that TA is just performing so much better now with the Ziggs. They're able to they got the real good dark tech. They finally broke 3 outer turrets. Not only just the mid, but they got both the bot and the top side now. So definitely really good. You see the third Drake's coming up here. They're set up for it. You do see that Nara is going to have to TP in.
If Antiqua wants to fight it, that's going to have to be the call here. This would be third dragon, Soul Point, over to the side of Team Ambition, and it looks like it's just going to go over to him. The Super Mega Death Rocket going to get blocked away by Respirit. Now, 3 dragons to 0. Team Ambition Prime feeling pretty good. 5 minutes away from being able to claim that Mountain Soul. One of the better dragons you can have, period, and certainly feels very good on this melee-heavy team comp. Only Ziggs really sitting as a range champion here. Now, being very good for the side of Team Ambition. They're just going to set up around the top side now. They know that they could chill for 5 more minutes, and they're executing their plan pretty flawlessly thus far.
Yeah, I mean, especially too, they've been kind of blocked out where they only get like 2 Drakes, and then the third one goes over to Stevens, and now this time it's even real dark tech. They're breaking everything now. They got through the mid turret. They got the third Drake now. I mean, everything kind of looks like it's going in their favor, which is really good to kind of see that it hasn't been like that at all tonight. So now I'm really happy that we get an invade going in on the Taco here.
Law Taco going to have to flash away to stay alive, and nice little pick there for the side of Team Ambition. They force a major engage tool out in the form of that Leona flash. Does still have the Hex Flash, but still, and now they're looking to collapse onto Evolution here. Depth Charge gets thrown on down. He tries to dash away, but he's going to get stopped as it manages to connect. Now they're chasing down onto Evolution. The interference Solar Flare comes on through. Try to buy a little bit more time, but Evolution, he just gets tempted to walk back on in. This is a big gnar on 2 into the wall, but nobody else to follow up with on the side of Antiqua. Reform Top goes on a killing spree. Antiqua falls as well, and it's just too disjointed from the side of Stevens. Team Ambition is ripping through them as they walk in one at a time. It's a 5-for-0 ace there for Team Ambition Prime. Triple kill goes over to Reform Top, and this is going to be a free Baron.
Yeah, free Baron to them. They played that perfectly. Unfortunately, the bad part is you had, like you talked about, just Arakayo was going in. There's like a little bit of time over the whole fight there, and if you had all 5 there, I think it could have gone a little bit better in their favor, but still, I mean, it's just a really good comp that they're putting out here. They have the Gwen who can just snip down people. You have PBS who can just throw those bombs from afar, get the minefield going down, able to just poke out, be able to do a lot there. You have Sakura who could either choose to just poke and go in or just stay in and just throw a ton of damage. I mean, you look at it, all of them are pretty ahead right now, so I do love that's coming out from them. So, get really good pickup taking the Kane this time around and the Ziggs.
Definitely here. Now 2 minutes to go onto that Dragon Soul. The Baron comfortably nestled in the pockets of Team Ambition Prime. We're now going to be able to just push out all the waves they want, all the time they want. Now just looking to see if Stevens takes another bad fight. If Stevens steps out of position. Spirit has done a fantastic job this game of forcing fights, getting picks wherever necessary, and now with this Baroned up Siege Minion, it's going to be very close to execute range for the mid-inner turret. It's going to be even more gold, going to be even more control. Team Ambition still playing it out very, very well.
They're doing very well. They're being able to get this Baron pushed, Baron waves pushed up right now. They're doing that splitting right now, putting Gwen top, which is kind of what they need to do. Just make sure they can get some extra turrets out of this. See if they could get that cannon minion to just do as much damage as possible to the turret, but it's going to be met by a wave right now. But they can wave clear very quickly.
And, just claiming turrets all over the map here. That's 2 inners now. Reformed is going a little bit aggressive here up against Antigua. Pretty low on HP. Knows that he has Spirit for the backup, though. They're going to end up backing on away, and now the Baron push going on through into the mid lane as well. It's going to be Ziggs executing down the turret with another satchel charge. This push just does not stop. Reform Top has completed the recall and is now teleporting back into the base. They're going to take out mid inhibitor here in just a couple short seconds, Gigatron, and nobody on Stevens Law Gray can respond at all.
No, I mean, and they really can't, and it's just really crazy to think of, like, hey, you get this snowball of team going, whether it be that you're getting on the Kane, you're getting on the Ziggs, but right now, I mean, you look at it too, their kill leader is the Gwen. The Gwen's 5-1-4, which is kind of just insane to think about, because we've seen the Gwens earlier in the game series, and it just wasn't that, but oh my.
Oh, the execute just coming on through for that Mega Inferno Bomb. A 3-for-0 fight instantly breaks out in the top lane. Not even time to call any plays there for the side of Stevens Law Gray. It's going to be Creatrix falling on down here. We're not even going to make it to a Dragon Soul at this rate, Gigatron. Another dominant performance from Team Ambition Prime in the team fight. And they are going to easily close on out this game. And they're a second away from closing out this series.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a hard-fought win for the series that they're doing right here. I mean, as much as you have Lotako coming up right now, it's not going to be the case. Kargi can't do that much. But, you know what? They did come out with the win here. I do love that we do have a deathless Ziggs here. So this is also great too. Again, just showing, hey, I can play a lot of these flex mage champions down here and provide a lot of pressure, get these kills, get these turrets down, which is again that tech that they needed to finally get going for them. And this is how they won the game.
Team Ambition looks so much better not playing Jin Jarvan. They just run through this game incredibly easily. They have their best performance of the series by far. And, remembering that this was one botched Baron fight away from being a 2-0 series for Steven's Law Gray. Congratulations, though, to Team Ambition Prime. They start off the league 1-0.
Yeah, they do, which is great because of the fact that, again, if it wasn't for that risky Baron play in that first game, it would have been going over the Stevens. And I look at that, again, both teams are kind of learning from all three of these games here of like, what do they need to do in the next coming weeks and everything there? What do they kind of need to tweak and fix up a little bit? Because that first game, I mean, yeah, it kind of was a roller coaster going back and forth. And now you see that second game, it kind of went getting a little more one-sided after a while. And it's kind of like this one. It went pretty one-sided just because of the fact that, again, Reform Top was just not able to be really taken down by the Gnar. You look at that bad, got that snowball like you talked about ahead early, got the Darkened Forum right away, was able to create a lot of pressure in all the lanes. You had the great roaming support there with Respirit on Nautilus that was just sitting all these plays too. That just really went well for them. That it's definitely exciting to see when you have teams doing this. So, and I just saw it. They just finished exactly at 25 minutes. So this is a really good game series. I enjoyed it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely, and a fantastic game 3 there from the Team Ambition squad, showing that they're really going to earn this series when it kind of got handed the game 1 a little bit there at the very end, at least off of just one botched team fight that gives Team Ambition the opportunity to just slam it all the way through the base. This time, playing it out clean, playing it out calculated, getting great roams off, getting great snowballs off on the lanes where they want it to happen, and coming out with the victory for it. So congrats on them. Going to start off the league 1-0. Steven's Law Gray gonna drop to 0-1, but still got themselves a game win in the series. Going to be looking pretty good coming in towards the rest of the league. So they've got 6 more opponents to face off in this group stage here over the course of 6 more weeks. We're going to be back in each and every one of those 6 more weeks, but we are going to be done for tonight. And so from myself, Gigatron, and Malcolm on production, have yourselves a fantastic night, and thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us, guys.